Welcome, all of you beautiful people. It is amazing to see you here today and have you a part of the show. How are you feeling, all you beautiful people? How you feeling? Give me one moment as I fix my camera. I just started the show and I'm already having difficulties technically. There we go. I'm back. All right. How you guys doing? Okay. How's it going? Welcome. I am your humble, gracious, grateful host, Tomisin Atobatele, here to talk to you about relationships and dating and this wonderful world that we live in. I'm here to talk to you about you. Have a conversation with you about you, all that good stuff. Okay. Welcome. How are you guys doing? Crystal, I love you too. How are you doing? Okay. SH is here. She was one of the first people here. How are you doing? Enlightened says, you look cute. I like the chain in the YouTube chat. Thank you guys. I like to switch it up a little bit. I know I wear mostly the same clothes every day on here, but that's on purpose. I don't like to switch it up too much. I don't want to come on here, you know what I mean? So much extra drip, it just becomes distracting. So I like to keep it basic, but you know what I mean? I add a little bit of extra sauce on here every now and again. You know what I mean? Just for the vibes. Appreciate it. How you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. Uganda said, what's that I am looking at? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What's that you're looking at? I confused. Dummy confused. Okay. SH says, I'm very tired, but didn't want to miss today's live. That's good. I mean, you can fall asleep to today's live, however you feel. It's a beautiful Friday. For you, it's Friday night, which is even better. You don't got to do anything tomorrow morning. So, I mean, you could just relax today. You don't got to worry about nothing, okay? Friday night for some of you, Friday afternoon, Friday, whatever it is good, okay? So that's very good. Enlightening the YouTube chat says, is it still cold in Canada? You stay wearing warm outfits? Yeah, it's still cold in Canada. Unfortunately, our spring comes late. Our spring don't come, all right on time when it's supposed to. So I still got to deal with cold and all that extraness. You know what I mean? Like, it's still like we still wearing jackets and sweaters out here. It's not it ain't sweet out here, okay? So let's get started. We have most people here in the chat here. It's a beautiful Friday, and I want you guys to have a great, enjoyable show today. I want us all to enjoy the show. As I said, I'll try and stay awake. I hope I'm interesting enough for you to stay awake, okay? Let's get started, okay? So we'll do roll call to get started. You guys know how we do it. If you're new here, we do roll call for everyone to say here or present in the chat so that I know you're here present. You're paying attention to me. You're paying attention to everyone else in the chat, and you're participating. You're not just passively docile, just listening in the background, not really even knowing what's going on, okay? So you got to say here or present in the chat. Okay. We got it. Tiffany here. She says, happy Friday to you too. It feels like every Friday is a holiday because I know some of you guys are working so hard, doing so much. That Friday is an enjoyable day where you get to take a little bit of time off. Maybe some of you have a rich boyfriend or a rich husband and you don't have to work too hard, so you listen to me instead of working hard. That would be pretty funny, actually. If you had a rich husband, and while your rich husband is working, you're listening to me, that would be really funny, actually. Okay. Tic-tac-toe says, did you just start? I did just start, which means you probably finally just got here on time for once. Okay. I'm here at the same time every day. Okay. So welcome all of you beautiful people that are here. How are you guys doing? I want to make sure everyone's good. Everyone's great. You know what I mean? We're going to have a really good, deep conversation today. For those of you on YouTube, you already know what we're discussing today. But for those of you on TikTok, I'm sure you're wondering, what are we discussing today? We're having a deep conversation. Literally, in the title, it says deep, and in the thumbnail, it says go deeper. Okay? SA says, and you're always on time. Yeah, it's been crazy. I made a couple of changes to to my schedule so that I can make sure I'm like right on time for you guys. So for the most part, I've been perfectly on time for you guys and make sure that everything is good. No more technical difficulty, even though I just had to stand up to press record on my camera. But that's beside the point. Okay, we'll ignore that. But I've been on time for the most part. Okay, so you're gonna get consistency out of me, if anything, which is good. Okay, so let's get started with the topic for today. Today, we're having a very interesting topic and conversation, and I want you guys to participate heavy in this. We're going to talk about how to build a deep romantic connection. Very robust. Sounds heavy. Sounds like there's a lot of layers. How to build a deep romantic connection, okay? With anyone. Well, you'd only be building it with a man, but still, this can work if you're a man and you want to build one with a woman as well. Okay, so I want you guys to listen up, take notes. This is going to be very beneficial for all of you, whether you're in a talking stage, whether you're in a relationship, whether you just met the person. This will be beneficial for you because the reality of it is the deeper a connection you can make with someone, the better off your relationship is, right? And the better off you are. Because then you don't got to worry about that person cheating on you, or you don't got to worry about that person leaving you, and you don't got to worry about wondering how that person feels or what they think. Because I know for a lot of you guys, you're confused about what does he think, how does he feel, what does he want. Madison says, "Oh, I made it time. I made it on time at work." I'm glad you made it on time, Madison. Welcome. So glad to have you here. Rachel says some of them cheat anyways. I agree. You can't always control what other people do, but building a deep romantic connection with someone will always help you get a better understanding of what they're truly about. And that's exactly why I say it's always good to do your best to build a deep connection with someone, because in the process of you learning people, right, especially when you're going from these beginning stages, these talking stages, and you're just in the beginning of dating them, it is so important to learn and understand them so you know if they're going to do some weird stuff on you, or if they're the type of person that has done, had strange behavior in relationships in the past. You can learn all those things. So you're building a deep connection, not only to help yourself for having a better relationship, but you're also, the deeper a connection you're making with someone, the more red flags will pop out to you and be clear to you, that you can actually make a decision on whether you think that's a good partner for you or not, right? It'll bring you a lot of clarity when you're building a deep connection with someone, right? Because you can build a deep connection with someone who's toxic, or build a deep connection with someone who you don't feel like would be a good partner to you. And then you can realize that in the process of building that deep connection. And it's even better for you because you can move forward with your life, okay? So it's good for all walks of life in all scenarios, okay? Now, let's get started, okay? So number one, in terms of how to build a deep romantic connection. Actually, let me ask you guys, because I don't want it to just be me talking all the time. What do you guys think are some good ways to build a deep romantic connection? Obviously, we're going to get to them. I have 7 different steps to building a deep, long-lasting connection. But before we get to them, I want to ask you guys, what do you think are some good ideas to build a deep connection with someone? As a guy, I'm really not texting like that 24/7, Pip says. I'm glad you're not. We had a conversation about texting yesterday, and we're going to have a conversation about texting today. So definitely, if you want to hear more about that, you should stay. Lena Leak said, accept faults. Okay. Cynthia says, creating a safe space for us to be vulnerable. Okay. Seeing someone in person and not snapping. You definitely, Giselle was definitely here for yesterday. She heard me going off about Snapchat. Enlighten says, deep convo, honesty, transparency, vulnerability, consistency, true respect, love. Okay. I like all of that. Spending time with each other. Okay. Creating a safe space for people to share their emotions, Rachel says. I love that. Quality time. Doing mundane things together. I like that. I like that. Not getting intimate too early. Smarty pants. You've been listening. You've been listening. Being emotionally available. Okay, I like that. Breaking up with him. Okay, you gone to scarred. Okay, okay, it's fine. You gone to female. She's scarred. Okay. Ramia says not to be dramatic. Okay. Actually spending quality time in the person. Okay. I like these answers. I like these answers. You guys I can tell that you guys have been absorbing what we've been talking about. Okay. Forgiveness, listen to understand, respect. Liza says, hey, how are you doing, Liza? Okay, those were all good. Listen attentively, Regina says. I like all of those answers. I can tell you guys been paying attention and been absorbing what we've been talking about. So we'll start off with number one. Some of you guys even covered some of the stuff we're going to discuss today. So just wait for it. You'll see which one of you guys were exactly right. We'll start off with number one. Number one, as someone pointed out earlier, stop texting. Okay. I mentioned this yesterday, stop texting, because it applied to what we were discussing yesterday, but it also applies to building a deep connection, okay? And I have to drill this through your heads. I have to, because I know majority of you are texting addicts. And I'm telling you, it is preventing you from building these deep connections. I'm going to keep saying it until you're tired of me saying it, right? Until you realize the errors in your ways and you make a change. You need to stop texting, okay? And when I say stop texting, I really mean stop texting as a way to get to know people. Stop texting as a way to keep a conversation going, okay? It is not helping you get to know that person any better. It is not building a connection with that person, whether romantic or platonic, anymore, right? When you're texting them a lot versus texting them a little, because the reality of it is you will never truly know who someone is over text. Okay. And the reason that is because you might be like, oh, well, let me ask you guys, how many of you felt, be honest with me. Okay. Don't just answer how you think I want you to answer. How many of you have felt like you can get to know someone over text? Okay, be honest with me. How many of you have felt like you're able to get to know someone over text? Like if you're texting back and forth, having conversations, like you'd be able to get to know them over text. Be honest with me. Don't cap. Don't lie to me. It's just me and you. This is like therapy. So don't give me an answer you think I want to hear. Just be for real. Elle said definitely me. Cynthia says me. Korean chick says me. Okay, someone else says no. Rachel says it's always different in person versus texting. I agree. Someone else says not really. To an extent, but not fully. Only to an extent. It's a start, I think. Enlightened Nay said, yeah, LOL. Jamie said you can know facts, but you don't actually know their personality, right? Liza said no in a spiritual way, like energetic. Not in a spiritual way, like in an energetic way. Okay. Baby Bella says definitely not me. Chris says somewhat, but video calling is a must. Okay, someone else says something is always missing. Dominique said no, only in time spent together in person. Okay, I like that. I like those answers. Now, the reason I say that you will never get to know someone over text, right? And I know some of you guys feel like, oh, I can get to know someone over text. I feel like I get to know someone over text. That's fine, right? I want to give you this example and then tell me how you feel about this example. Okay. Some of you guys that have felt like that before. Okay. So imagine I have you in a huge room. Okay. Awesome, amazing, just blank room. Okay. Like a studio. And in comes walking 100 guys. Okay. 100 guys to choose from. Okay. Actually, let's even say you don't know what any of those guys look like. You just know there's 100 guys in the room. Okay, so you can't see any of their faces. You can't see their body. You can't see if they have tattoos or if they're good looking or if they're tall or if they're short. You just know there's 100 other guys in a room behind a wall. Now, I put up in front of you 100 different pages that each one of those guys have handwritten. Okay? I told them to write a page about anything they want, whatever it may be. They can just write. Any subject that they want, they write a page about it. We put it up. Now, I want to ask you, if I had 100 guys hand write a page, and I put it in front of you, would you be able to determine who you think is the person that is the best romantic match for you based on 100 guys writing on a page, writing on a piece of paper, and you just read the words and you determine who would be the best partner for you? Do you think you would be capable of determining that based on the words that they write on a piece of paper? Who you would have the most and deepest romantic connection with? Okay, Liza says no. Kimberly says nope. Someone else says no. Chris says Cynthia says nope. And I just came up with that. Like, that might be a really cool dating show experience, right? A Light of Rose says 100 guys is too many. Well, there's over 100 guys on your dating app. You just don't see them all at once. So if 100 guys feels like too many, there's something to think about when you're on dating apps. Absolutely not. Kimchi says no expressions matter. Okay. Someone else said yeah. Abby says no. Baby Bella says absolutely not. A person needs to meet in person to be able to read body language signs. Okay. What if there's chemistry even though it's text? Okay, I like that. I'll address that. We'll get to that, right? Enlightening in the YouTube chat says definitely not. And then someone else says it would be extremely difficult. Now, I'll acknowledge myself. If I had to do that, determine who would be the best romantic partner based on what was written down on paper, I definitely couldn't do that. If you feel like you could do that, you must be some sort of psychic or be connected to some sort of source that is way different than the rest of us. Because I think for most of us, it would be very difficult, right, to determine who would be the best romantic partner for us based on what they've written on a piece of paper. So Bella says ChatGPT has chemistry as well. Exactly. Right. And it's funny enough that, like, even nowadays, if I were to tell you, hey, this guy wrote this, I could really fool you by telling you this guy wrote this. And really, he could have just said, hey, ChatGPT, write me a really romantic poem that's like 3 paragraphs long and structure it like a 28-year-old, guy that lives in California with a high school education. Right. And you can make it. ChatGPT can generate him something, right, that you read and you fall in love with the words that are on the page, not realizing that the person behind the words on the page is actually ChatGPT, and the person who put together the ChatGPT prompt is some broke 28-year-old man who's a loser, who has, he's got acne all over his face and he looks disgusting, and, he has nothing going for him, and you're super unattracted to him. Okay. Now, obviously, the example that I gave you guys is extreme, that you'd be in a room with 100 guys and you'd be reading papers to determine who is going to be the best romantic partner to you. But if you can identify that the words on a page or the words on a screen cannot help you better identify if someone would be a good romantic partner to you, then you're also identifying that texting doesn't really give you the true concept of who someone is. Because when someone's texting you, it's the same thing. It's just words on a screen. All you have is the representation of who the person is that is texting those words on that screen. And then you decipher that message through that context. Okay. And a lot of times the way you're deciphering that message is based on how you may or may not already feel about that person. So for example, if I have, 1 million followers, right, on Instagram, and, I'm like a super famous YouTuber, and I send you, or a super famous rapper, and I send you a message and I just go, yo, pull up to the club, girl. I'm going to be there at 12:30, right? And I got 1 million followers and you listen to my songs all the time, right? And I send you, hey, pull up to the club, girl. I'm gonna be there at 12:30. You might respond. There's a good chance you might, or you might find it interesting at the very least that I were to message you. You might find it intriguing, but your response would be very different than if I was some average Joe who, you know what I mean? I had nothing to my name. I was just a random blank page, right? And I said, hey, girl, pull up to the club at 12:30. right? Not say that you're a gold digger or anything like that, but it's natural that we are going to decipher the same message in different ways depending on who we think it's coming from, right? And there's multiple layers to when we're deciphering text messages, Instagram DMs, any type of messages, okay? There's actually about 3 layers to deciphering any message, okay? You got the first layer, which is your own perspective in life, okay? Right? Because your perspective in life shapes how you're going to receive a message from someone, right? And your perspective is also going to shape the context in which you believe it's coming under, right? And then thirdly, you're reading the words on the screen, right? And deciphering what you think I feel like when I sent that message, if that makes any sense. So let me give you an example, right? If I send you a paragraph about, yo, you know, I just can't believe I don't have no time for nothing no more. I'm just so busy. You know, I never get any time to myself. This sucks. I wish I could just take a break from life. Though I never get to do anything that I want to do. I never get to have any fun anymore. Everything's about everyone else and and I just send you a whole long paragraph about me complaining. Now, if you've been in a relationship where your partner's been too busy or your partner hasn't wanted to be around you, or you've been broken up with in your most recent relationship, what's going to happen is based on your perspective, right? You're going to read my message about not having any, about me said that I sent you about saying, oh, I don't have any time for myself. I just want to take a break. I never, everyone wants me to do things and I just want to be by myself and be, you might take that as, oh, you don't like me, or, oh, you don't want to spend time with me, or, oh, you're getting bored of me, right? Because that's the particular way that you're deciphering my message through your perspective and through your experiences in life, right? You're putting it under a specific context based on your perspective and your understanding of what my perception was when I sent the message is all based around your perspective and your experiences, right? So you receive the message in the particular way based on your perspective, okay? Now, when I send the message, you receive it as, oh, I don't want to spend time with you. I'm bored of you. I'm done with you. I want to be single, all that good stuff. When I sent the message, I was genuinely stressed out and I really just wanted to get on my chest how things have felt overwhelming for me. But you see how easily, based on your perspective, right, and the context that you feel the message is being sent under, it can drastically change how you receive the message versus how someone sent the message. And then you respond back to me, well, okay, if you don't want to spend time with me, just say that. Or if you want to break up, then just say that. And then I'm sitting there like, wait, what? That's not what I'm saying at all. I've been really stressed about work, right? But you see how easy it is for over a text message for you to be confused about the meaning of things, or you to get the wrong message, right? What is the wrong message for me versus what you perceive as the message I'm trying to send when I sent that message? My point being is that texting is a very confusing way to communicate with someone because you don't truly have all the context clues as to how they are saying what they're saying and what they really mean by what they're saying, okay? Because we have evolved. I know you guys don't want to get into history here, but we have, and biology, but we have evolved as human beings to read in on body language, the way people say things, right? Their voice, right? Their facial expressions, right? And situational context clues to understand what people really mean when they say something in particular, right? If we're driving in the car and you ask me, hey, how do you feel about your ex? And I go, yeah, she's cool. I don't mind her at all, right? Versus you ask me in the car, right? And we're driving and you say, how do you feel about my ex? I go, I mean, yeah, she's cool. I don't mind her. It's very different, right? It's a very different feeling. right? But the reason you know why that feels different is because you have so much more context, right, behind the words, but you know, right, based on how you've evolved and what you understand the world to be, you know there's a difference, right, in the meaning based on all the other factors, how I acted, how I responded, what my face told you, what my body language was, right? Even though the words are the same, the message is very, very different. Okay, right? And it's amazing how we have evolved like that to understand things that deeply, where two people can say the exact same things and you can clearly receive the message very differently and know that they mean something very different. That's the amazing part about life. So, but that's why I say you have to stop texting, because if you're truly going to build a strong and deep connection with someone, especially a romantic connection, there's no way to truly do that over text, because you'll never truly know the person, right, who is behind the messages. You won't truly know them. Okay. And someone even said, oh, but you can learn facts. Can you really learn facts? Right? Can you really learn facts? Because behind a text message and behind a phone, a lot of people say a lot of things. And the most interesting part about that too, especially when you're in the beginning of a relationship, people tend to overestimate or underestimate certain qualities about themselves because they know they don't actually have to stand up to you and say it to your face. So people might, if they're giving you facts about themselves, right, might overestimate certain qualities that make them look better, right? And underestimate certain facts or qualities or traits that make them look worse. But the thing is, when you're texting, especially at the beginning, there's no way of actually verifying that. You know what I mean? Right? When you're texting someone, you're trying to figure out all the information about them. Oh, how tall are you? Oh, I'm 6'3". And then you meet him and he's 5'10". Why would you lie? Why would you lie? I can see that you're 5'10". But if you were in person with him and you asked him how tall are you, the chances of him lying, saying that he's 6'3" would be a lot less, because you can simply stand up and be like, I'm literally 5'9" and we're like the same height. What do you mean you're 6'3", right? I just want you guys to see how when you fall in love too much with texting, it can become something very detrimental to your ability to build a real relationship with that person, because you'll become too attached to the person that you want them to be or the person that you're projecting them to be over those text messages. Okay? Someone says Delulu is the Salulu. Delulu is the Salulu, except for when the delusion is your delusion of who someone is. Right? Okay? Marissa says, this is why I hate dating apps. LOL. Not only do they always lie about their height, but also you can't feel the vibe with someone over text. Then you wasted all that time to get ready and meet up. I 100% agree. I 100% agree with what Marissa just said. You're also, right, not able to get a sense of their vibe, and you're wasting a lot of time, because you don't want to necessarily be building a deep romantic connection with everyone, right? This is a lot. The strategies that I'm giving you guys is a lot better and a more efficient way to spend your time, right? Because when you're trying to build a real connection with someone, you'll even more quickly be able to realize, no, this isn't it. This isn't what I want, right? In the process of texting, you'll waste a lot of time because everyone at the beginning will feel like the right person, right? Just like Marissa just said, by the time you meet up, you get a much better understanding of the vibe and the feeling that you get around someone. And you can way more quickly know if, yeah, I want to be with someone like this, or no, I don't want to be with someone like this. Over text, everyone feels the same. That's the problem, right? Everyone feels the same. Everyone feels like you're Prince Charming. Everyone feels like the person you're going to end up with, because it's text, right? And because it's text, you don't have any real qualities or traits to go off of. You don't have any real emotions or feelings to go off of. So what do you get to do? You get to project those feelings onto them. You get to project those character traits onto them. You get to project those personality traits onto them, and they all feel like your perfect person until you meet them. Right? That's why I always say stop texting. Right? It is not helping you build deep romantic connections. It's actually making it so much harder, because then you go into the relationship, right? Or you go into the first meeting or the first date with so much bias, right? You're literally washing your ability away to just sit down and be able to judge someone for who they are, not who you want them to be. Because as you keep on this texting conversation, trying to have all these deep conversations over text, trying to get to know them over text, you build up your idea of them. And if when you meet them in person, your idea of who you thought they were isn't in line with who they actually are, you will always be disappointed. Okay? You will always be disappointed, because it's like, imagine if I imagine if I said, I'm going to take you to the most amazing 5-star restaurant ever. It's got 3 Michelin stars. It's got a 5.0 rating on Google. Everyone loves this place. It's all over social media. It's got the best food there. You don't worry about the name. You haven't heard of it, but this is going to be such amazing food. I promise you, when you eat it, you're going to have an orgasm. Your Squirtle's going to squirt everywhere. Everything's going to be amazing. You're going to feel so good after you try this food from this restaurant. I promise you, it'll change your life. Right? And I build it up and I build it up and I build it up, and you're so excited. You're so excited for what this restaurant's going to taste like when you finally bite into that food, and you eat it and you're like, this is all right. I've had better. It didn't change my life. Right? And it's not really necessarily about the real quality of the food, because the food can even still be good. But because your expectation was through the roof, right? Anything that is not through the roof, that is not blowing your mind, feels like a letdown. Okay. And it's the same thing with texting. When you get into the habit of texting someone and then you feel like you know who they are, you feel like you know what their personality is like, you feel like you guys get along so well, you feel like you know what the vibe is like, right? It sets your expectations through the roof, right? This is my person. This is who I'm going to be with. Oh my God, we're going to have such an amazing relationship. Oh my God, we're connecting so well. Oh my God, we have such amazing, great conversation. And then you go on that first date, or you finally meet them, or you finally spend some real quality time with them, and you're kind of like, oh, actually, our conversation's kind of stale. Oh, actually, he's a little bit awkward. Oh, actually, he's got a weird twitch. Oh, actually, he's a little bit shorter than I like a guy to be. Okay? And now, even if he's just being regular him, even if he's just being a normal flawed person, it's disappointing, because your expectation was to meet the man, the Prince Charming that you've been reading on Wattpad and reading in your smut books and reading and watching on your Disney movies. Okay? Right? That's why I always say to stop texting. Okay? Stop texting. Right? Okay? Very important. So that I'll say that about that. CFAT in the YouTube chat says, so if you happen to meet someone on an app, do you think it's okay to cap it after one phone call and say you prefer getting to know someone in person? If you have to, I would rather you, if the date is going to take too long to plan, I'd rather you hop on a phone call I'd rather you schedule a phone call earlier after, meeting them on the app, than texting them up until the next time that you're going to meet them in person. Okay? Phone calls and FaceTimes are always better than texting, but they're not as good as meeting someone in person. That would be my recommendation to you, okay? You guys should always, kind of like I mentioned it before, you should always be, because I know you guys like actionable items, you should always be using texting as a tool to schedule the next hangout, meetup, date, or phone call, or FaceTime. Okay, those are the only things you should really be using texting for if you want to build a deep connection with someone. If you're not that interested in building a deep connection with someone, then don't worry about that. You know what I mean? But if you really want to build a deep connection with someone, only times you should really be using text is to schedule the next hangout, schedule the next FaceTime call, schedule the next, phone call. Okay? Block out the times in your day or the times in your week or the times in your month where you guys are either going to see each other or you guys are going to talk on the phone or talk on FaceTime. Okay? Because everything you need to say in between that time, especially at the beginning, can be said during that time. And if you don't feel like it's that important during that time, then it probably wasn't that important in general. Okay? CFAT in the YouTube chat says, I never text, I only do phone calls, but some of these guys get addicted to calling you nonstop after you make them laugh on the phone. Like I say, I think phone calls are better than texting, but also you don't want guys to get into the habit of, oh, I'll phone call you all the time and I'll never take you out on a date. You know what I mean? Like I said yesterday when we were talking about what was our chat about yesterday? I think it was how to get a guy to chase you, right? You don't want to allow them to get into the habit of always texting you or always calling you, that they never have to take you out on a date in order to hear from you or in order to, to hear your voice or to, have some sort of rapport or conversation with you. You want the date to also serve as the only time or the rare occasion where he can actually see you, because what's going to happen is that now, right, the date is in line with being able to see you or talk to you. So now he wants to plan a date in order to see you more or talk to you more. If you're always available over text, what's the motivation to see you in person? Because I told you guys, the guys, just like you fall in love with text, the guys fall in love with text too, right? And they fall in love with text so much that they forget, like, in order for me to build a real connection with her, I got to see her in person. So I'm helping you help your relationship that neither of you are falling in love over text, and you can set the boundary and say, look, if you want to talk to me, you got to see me in person. And then he goes, cool, I want to talk to you. So where do you want to go? Let's go on a date. Okay. Adriana says, are some men lazy or they just don't like you enough? I think it's a combination of both. I think some men are lazy, and I told you some of those men also fall the same trap that you guys fall into. Some of the guys also fall into. Some of them are shy or they're awkward or whatever it may be, or they just think texting is easier and they fall in love with just being a texting buddy, right? But the problem with that is they start to feel like, oh, we're connecting, oh, we're talking because we're texting all the time, but you're not really talking. But then what also ends up happening is he's the guy and he's meant to be the one pushing the relationship forward and being like, hey, let's go out on a date. But he feels like he's always talking to you when he's texting you, which is why I say you always want to shut the texting down immediately, especially when a guy is interested in you, so that his interest will motivate him to ask you out on a date. You never want to let him just sit back and relax where his interest in you can just be communicated through text message all the time. Right? April says, or sometimes guys just want to talk and not let the woman talk. That's also true. But that's also something you would get a clear vibe on if you met them in person. You see? Okay. So someone S says, how much texting is appropriate before the first date? This is why I always advise, honestly, truly, I know you guys have a question about this. This is why I always advise you guys to not be meeting people on dating apps. I'm just going to say it like that, because dating apps always kind of set you up for failure, because you're automatically going to start texting just at the beginning, just automatic. Because you're meeting them on the dating app. So you're forced to start the conversation and to feel like you're trying to get to know each other over text. And then it's like over text is when you're determining, okay, I'm texting this guy and I'm texting that guy and I'm texting this guy and I'm texting that guy. Which guy am I going to get to know over text enough that I feel like I would be comfortable enough to going on a date with them? And so it works out the same way, where you're determining who you feel you would even have a romantic connection with over text, instead of meeting them and determining whether you'd have a good connection with them. But the problem is, over dating apps, there's so many different options, especially for you as women. There's so many options of guys to choose from. It's like you need some sort of system to filter out, okay, I've got 30 guys texting me right now. I can't really go on a date with 30 guys. So I'm going to have to pick who I think are the best texters or who I get the best vibe from over text and go on a date with those few guys. But you're still making a decision about your romantic partner over text. You see how that sets you up for failure very quickly? You know what I mean? Marissa says, Bumble is the worst because women have to message first. It really, what does it say? It really sucks for us, sets us up for failure. I'm not trying to chase a man. I understand. And that's why Bumble is a very unique thing. And I say that as someone like, guys, I'm not no PhD, professor. I don't have a doctorate where, I spent the 10 years of my life writing papers and writing theses about relationships, and I don't actually know about what people really go through because I haven't actually experienced it or done it. So when I talk to you guys about Bumble, about Hinge, about Tinder, about Snapchat, I've done all of them. I've had all of them. I've used all of them. So I actually know what you're going through. I don't write theses and papers on stuff, although no diss to any of those people that do that, right? And are complete experts, right? I don't write theses and papers on stuff. I just actually have real experience, okay, with real people. So I know how frustrating some of the dating apps and stuff can be, which is why we're all here learning, okay? But that's why I always advise you guys on dating apps. So I think it was S that asked me, what do I feel like is an appropriate amount to text before going on the first date? I don't think that realistically, if you're meeting people the right way, I don't think that there requires more than, 10-ish texts before the first date. And what I mean by that, if you're meeting people the right way, let's assume you meet someone out at, I don't know, let's say you go to a museum and you meet someone who is cool. You have a nice chat with them. You think he's cute. He says, yo, I would love to see you again. Can we go out for a coffee or whatever at some time? And you're like, yeah, no, I would love that. That would be amazing, right? He gets your number, right? He texts you, hey, this is John. And, let's say you guys are texting back and forth. You're like, hey, my name's Vanessa, whatever. And then he's like, I would love to, if we can go out on Thursday at, 7 p.m., we go for coffee or whatever. I don't know. We go for a dinner or whatever. And you're like, yeah, I'm free at 7 p.m. Or no, I'm not free at 7 p.m. I am free this weekend, though. And he's like, okay, I'm free on Saturday. Can we go at 3 p.m.? Yeah, sure. I'm free at 3 p.m. It doesn't require more. I see someone has my face as their profile picture. That's pretty funny. It doesn't require more than a little bit of back and forth texting before you go out on that first date. Okay? Right? If you're meeting them the right way. Now, obviously, if you're meeting people over Bumble or Hinge or a dating app, it's going to take a lot more, right? Because how are you going to be like, hey, I just met you on this dating app. Yeah, I'm expecting a date in the next 5 texts. Tell me when and where, right? It'd be a little bit more awkward to do that. But you also don't want to fall into the trap of, just, okay, how are you doing? Where are you from? How old are you? What are this and what? Like, these are questions and stuff that's meant for the date. Like, you want to save all that stuff for the date. You want to save all that getting to know them really for the date, so that in the process of them giving you facts about themselves, giving you information about their life and all that good stuff, you can also have the context of like seeing their face, seeing them respond to things, right? Seeing how they speak to you, how they carry themselves, what the feeling that you get when you're around them is. Like, all of that stuff matters, because all of that stuff determines whether you're going to be truly attracted to that person or not. It's not just about seeing their profile picture or seeing a couple of pictures that they put on, or hearing a voice note that they put on their Hinge profile. I told you guys I know about everything. You guys think I'm a rookie? I told you guys I know about everything. Okay, so that's very important. You got to stop texting. That's number one. Any questions about that? Are you guys confused at all? You guys understand what it is that I mean when I say stop texting? I know we talked about this yesterday, but I told you I have to drill it into your head. I got to drill it into your head. so you never forget. And if you ever feel the need that, oh, the only way I can get to know them or the only way I can determine if I should go on a date with them is over text, then you know you're probably meeting them the quote unquote wrong way. Because if you feel like you need to do a whole bunch of texting in order to determine whether or not you should go on a date with this person and meet this person, then you probably met them the wrong way. Because if you met them the right way, right, you should already know there's some sort of chemistry there because you met them in person. There's some sort of chemistry there. And in the process of you realizing there's some sort of chemistry there, you're like, okay, I want to explore this more, right? So you should already know that you wanted to go on the date, or you're okay with being like, okay, I like the vibe, right? That's why I tell you guys, you're going to have to get out of your house if you want to meet your man of your dreams. It's not going to happen on your couch. Sorry to say. Sorry to disappoint you. Okay. Now, so that was number one was stop texting. Number 2, no app communication. I know we talked about this yesterday a little bit with social media. I don't want to go on another rant about Snapchat because it's going to make me mad. Okay. But social media apps, obviously we got Hinge, dating apps, Bumble, things like that, right? Very low quality forms of communication. We do not want you having low quality forms of communication. You will never be able to build a deep romantic connection with someone with all of these low quality forms of communication. And I know some of you are like, but I want to talk to my person all the time. I want to talk to him 24/7. I want to text him. I want to call him. I want to message him. I want to do this. I want to do that. Yeah. You can talk to your person all the time. Just go see him all the time and you'll be fine. You ain't going to build no deep romantic connection by sending him a bunch of IG memes. You ain't going to build no deep romantic connection by Snapchatting him for 365 days in a row. You ain't going to build no deep, long-lasting connection by sending him a couple paragraphs over text message. Okay? All of these apps, you ain't going to build no deep connection with him by seeing him update his WhatsApp status all the time. Okay? I know about how everyone uses everything. Okay? None of these apps are helping you build a deep, real connection with that person. And the problem, see, this is why this is so important, is because a lot of you guys are stuck in a position where you're wondering why you can't decipher good guys from bad guys, why you can't decipher people who you should be in a relationship versus the ones that you shouldn't be, why you can't determine, hey, how come I couldn't tell that this guy wasn't the right partner for me? How come I couldn't tell that this would have been a bad relationship? How come it took me this long to realize he was a horrible guy? Well, you weren't building a real connection with him. You had all this stuff that was like fluff, right? All this stuff that was like the what you thought was real, but you were actually just filling your time. You were actually just bored. You weren't having any real conversation. You didn't really know the real person, right? But then as time went on, you began to learn the real person and you realized most of the stuff that you were concerned with before was really a facade. Do you understand? Right? The same way with texting, how you become addicted to the texting and then, you start thinking, oh, well, this person is just like this and I think he's probably just like this. And then you meet them and you're disappointed. The apps are the same thing, more of the same. But the apps are even worse because the apps trick you even more into thinking you're having even more conversation with that person because a lot of you couple it with the texting. And then you feel like, oh my God, like I'm messaging him on 2 places at once or 3 places. Some of you are effing addicts. You got the Snapchat streak going with him, right? Then you're sending him Instagram memes and reels. You're sending him TikTok videos, right? And then you're messaging him over text or messaging him over WhatsApp. How many of you do that with the guy that you're talking to or a guy that you like? You text him, you Snapchat him, you send him Instagram reels and memes, and then you send him TikTok videos, right? Or some combination of those, whatever your app of choice is. Because I know some of you who are a little bit older, you like using Instagram more. Some of you are a little bit younger, you like using TikTok more. And some people use WhatsApp, some people don't, right? Some combination of that, where you're either talking to him over text and talking to him on Snapchat, or you're talking to him over text and then you're talking to him on Instagram, or sending it back and forth somewhere on at least two places. Okay, I seen some people say that was me, and then some people say no, that's way too much, right? And someone said I barely message back. I'm glad you barely message back, right? Guman says I barely text him and he's obsessed, as he should be, right? Right? It just becomes a vicious cycle. And I don't want to get into a rant again about Snapchat like I did yesterday. You gotta go watch my video, my live stream yesterday if you want to hear me rant about Snapchat, because that one's like one of the worst. Okay, right, very important. Like, get off of the apps. There are low quality forms of communication. If you really think an Instagram meme or reel is so funny that you want to send it to him or like show him, save it. When you see him in person, show him all the ones that you've been meaning to show him. And then you guys can laugh about it together and maybe have a conversation about it together. Okay? It'll be a cool conversation starter. Don't do it over the phone. Okay? Because it just becomes an addiction. And you guys feel like, you both feel like you're talking all the time, but you're not actually talking all the time. You're not actually building a relationship all the time. You're only really building a real relationship when you spend some time in person. Okay? It's the God honest truth. There's no way around it. I seen a video yesterday, and this was amazing. I seen a video that was about an NBA player. His name was Lou Williams. He was talking about how a lot of basketball players, after they get retired, they get divorced from their wife because they didn't never really know who it was that they married, because for a majority of their life, they were spending 2, maybe 3 times a week maximum with them and around them, right? For a couple hours. And, they're back on the road playing basketball or doing their thing. And so by the time they retire and they're actually there with their wife every single day, they get a divorce because they didn't even realize who they married, and vice versa. Their wife didn't even realize who they married. Right? They don't really know each other. Despite all the texts you might be able to send, despite all the calls you might be able to do, right? There's nothing like really spending real quality in-person time with someone. Okay? Right? And it's the honest truth. It's the honest truth. Now, I'm not trying to scare you away from marrying an NBA player, but I'm just saying, right? Like, you really have to have a concentrated effort, especially even if you're long distance. There has to be an even more of a bigger effort made to spend quality time together. I know for not all of you, quality time is your number one love language, but it still is always going to be important, because you can't build that connection without that quality time. Right? So very important. Amber in the YouTube chat said, I actually asked him how his day went, and he was very grumpy and not detailed. I began to walk him through my day, and he yelled at me and began telling me I need to apologize. That's insane, right? I think before that you said, I took a few hours to call this guy back, and before I can call out my behavior and explain, he's demanding that I apologize. Like, no, grumpy. That's crazy. I'm telling you, and the thing about it is too, over text, over all of these apps and all that stuff, a lot of stuff can get misunderstood or miscommunicated, right? If you're keeping a Snapchat streak with someone, I know some of you love Snapchat. If you're keeping a Snapchat streak with someone and all of a sudden they stop Snapchatting you back, now all of a sudden you're offended. Why don't you Snapchat me back? Why won't you respond to me on Snapchat? And you're thinking, oh, your relationship's bad because he's not responding to you on Snap, when maybe he's just doing something other than Snapchatting people. You understand what I mean? But you see how it can easily get misunderstood, and then it changes the way you approach the relationship because of what they are or not doing over an app. Okay? Someone said Snapchat. What even is this advice even? I understand that how social media and these apps play a role in everyone's relationship. Even if Snapchat isn't your thing, trust me, that's a lot of people's, the younger generation especially too. It's some of their things, and for other people, it's different things. For some people, it might be Facebook Messenger or Facebook. I don't know. You might be older if you're doing that. For some people, it might be Instagram. For a lot of you, actually, it's probably Instagram. And for some of you, it might be TikTok, whatever it may be, right? Whatever form of communication you find yourself messaging people the most on. Maybe for you, it's Twitter even. I don't know. No app communication. You're not building no serious relationship with no man, no person, no human being over an application either. So get off of the applications, okay? Because the same way with texting, you build a bias of who they are. And when you meet them, you come into that relationship, right? Or that talking stage or that whatever stage with that bias. And it will always serve to hurt you, okay? Stop it. Someone said I only text through Snap. Same thing. There is no deeper intimate conversation that you're going to be having over Snapchat. No deeper intimate conversation you're going to be having on Instagram or WhatsApp. I don't care what you use. Okay. Right? None of that. And you shouldn't even be trying to have no deeper intimate conversation over WhatsApp, over Instagram, over none of that. None of that. Use it the same way I said to use texting. Use it as a tool to schedule the next hangout. Don't be over here being a Snapchat demon or an Instagram DM demon. Okay, get that out of your life. Okay, so that was number 2. Number 1 was stop texting. Number 2 was no app communication. Number 3, now we're getting juicy. Make it comfortable. Okay, so this is now that you've done the process, getting rid of the texting, getting rid of the Snapchat and the Instagram and all that good stuff. Now you're finally focused on how you're going to treat the real person in real life, because this is how you build the real connection that's deep and long lasting with them. Okay, you make it comfortable. So what do I mean by that? You have to bring an enthusiasm and excitement to the relationship or to the talking stage, to the date, right? Where you have the mindset that you want to get to know as much as humanly possible about that person. You're so intrigued and interested in learning about them, him in this specific situation, about him on this date and in general, that you're fascinated by just sitting down, asking questions and listening. Right? And everything he says feels like it's magical because you're finally getting to understand him more. When you approach the date, right, or the person or the relationship with that mindset, what's going to happen is something very interesting. He's going to mirror your excitement, right? And in the process of him mirroring your excitement, he's going to become more and more comfortable sharing with you because he's going to feel like you enjoy hearing him talk. Okay? Now, some of you might be like, but you're going to attract a narcissist if you do that, or you're going to attract someone who's super into themselves if you do that, or you're going to... That's not the point of what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do here is set the precedent that a man will be very comfortable sharing with you and opening himself up to you, because this is the only way you're going to actually get to his heart if he opens up to you. You're never going to get to a guy's heart by sitting around and talking about yourself. I'm sorry to tell you. Okay? You're never going to get to a guy's heart by sitting around and telling him all of your sad stories. Okay? The only way you're going to get to a guy's heart truly is by becoming his therapist. Okay? I know it sounds, but that's toxic. Why would you want to be your mentor? Why would you want to be your this and that? You are a woman. And you're an amazing woman. You have so much capabilities when it comes to being emotionally intelligent, having your intuition, being in touch with your emotions and your feelings and all that good stuff, right? Men are stunted in that, most men, okay? Not every man's going to sit there and articulate their feelings like I do. I am like I'm not real, okay? For majority of most men, it's going to be a struggle to sit around and articulate their feelings, or to be able to just openly express how they feel or what they're thinking, right, out loud in a way that makes sense. So your superpower is being his therapist, where he can actually get that out and feel good about talking about himself and his feelings and his problems and what he wants and his desires and all that good stuff that's going on in his mind. You help him make sense of that, and he will love you for that. You'll also build a lot deeper of a connection with him, because you will understand him better. You'll understand his mind better, right? Because I told you, like I said before, I know a lot of you guys are having trouble, first of all, with building real connections with guys, because you're like, this guy just, he used my Squirtle and then he played me and then he disappeared, right? So you're having trouble building connections with guys, but you're also having trouble understanding what guys want or why they're, doing the things that they do, right? You feel like you don't really understand how they think or what they need or what they want, right? And you're just living your life with all of this confusion, right? But if you become his therapist and you make him feel comfortable as possible sharing with you, you'll get a much better understanding of not just the guy you like, every guy you meet. You'll get a much better understanding of what he wants, who he is, and what he's about. It'll also make it a lot easier for you to see through the fakers, right? And to be able to tell who the real ones are, right? So you always want to be approaching your relationships and these dates and these guys with this same mentality. You want to come to the table. I'm excited to get to know you. I'm excited to learn more about you. I'm excited to genuinely, understand you better. If you're not excited to actually get to know the person or understand them, then you probably shouldn't even be on that date in the first place. If you're coming to that date and you're like, I just want to sit here and talk about myself, or I don't really find you that interesting, you're boring. I don't want to hear about you. I want to talk about me. If you come to the date and that's truly how you feel, you probably shouldn't be on that date, because you probably don't like that guy. If you truly like someone, you should be interested in talking about them. Now, obviously, a guy who's also interested in you is going to ask you about you as well. And I'm not saying, don't answer about you. Don't answer any questions about you. Don't let him ask any questions about you. I would definitely say, talk about yourself. Answer questions about you. He's going to mirror your excitement as well. Remember that. So as you come to the table excited to learn about him, he likes you. He's also going to mirror that and be excited to learn about you as well. So I'm not saying, don't talk to him about you, or don't share anything about you, or keep everything a secret. But just make sure in the process of you sharing about yourself, you do as much as you possibly can to shift the focus back, where you're continuously still doing the job of understanding him, and you don't go too far off into the deep end where now it's just all about you and you're only talking about you and you forgot to ask about him or, be curious about him. Okay, so that's why it's so important that you set the stage by making him comfortable talking to you. You're not going to build no deep connection with someone if the guy doesn't feel comfortable even talking to you or sharing with you in the first place. Does that make sense to you guys? Right? Are you guys following me? Right? Right? You cannot make a guy you cannot get a guy to talk or answer any of your questions if you don't do the first job of making him feel comfortable. Someone said, so they need princess treatment. Everyone needs princess treatment a little bit. You know what I mean? It's not a man or girl thing, right? We all want to feel like someone is interested in us genuinely and cares about what we have to say. And that's why I say it's your superpower as a woman, because you're more in touch with your emotions. So he won't necessarily be able to tell you that he needs that, but you can provide that to him in a way where he's like, you gave me something I didn't even know that I needed. You understand what I mean? Okay. Diana says, but what if you both like dominance? He can be dominant and still share with you and talk to you. There's nothing about sharing with you and talking to you that makes him less dominant. Right? Marissa says, I found that magnetic positive energy in real life and minimal texting gets guys obsessed. I 100% agree. Minimal texting and that positive magnetic energy, because people, you will be surprised. You think that people feel closer to you by you talking about yourself, right, to them and sharing your life with them. That's not actually what happens. They feel the closest to you when they share with you about themselves. So if you want a guy to feel close to you, you should let him talk extensively about himself. Even the guys who are shy and are like, oh, but I'm so shy about talking about everyone likes talking about themselves. You just have to get them opened up. Okay. Everyone is capable of doing that. It's possible to get anyone talking. You just have to warm them up the right way and, ask them the right questions, build rapport, build trust, and you can get someone talking. The reason I know that, right, is because when a criminal, tell me guys, when a criminal goes to a police station, right, the criminal knows that he's being questioned by the police officer. The police officer knows that the criminal knows that he knows that he's here to question him, right? Everyone knows what they're there for. So why doesn't the police officer, as soon as the criminal sits down at the police station, just say, did you murder that guy on 79th Street? Yes or no? Did you do it at 3 p.m. with the 9mm? Yes or no? Right? If both people know why they're there, why doesn't the police officer just come out and ask the most obvious question one time and then send him on his way? Because that's not how you get the truth out of people. Right? That's not how you get people talking. That's not how human beings work, right? If I really want the truth out of someone, I sit them down, even if they know why we're there. I sit them down, I build rapport with them. I get them talking about themselves, their life, where they've been, what they like, what they dislike, right? I build a list of all my context clues. I understand, what they're about. I ask them follow-up questions and follow-up questions to the follow-up questions, right? And I ask them a bunch of questions around the truth that I'm trying to extract until finally I stumble upon the truth indirectly. Right? Because by the time, the police officer asked the criminal, hey, where were you at 3 p.m.? Oh, so you usually don't work on Tuesdays, right? When this thing happened. And also, it was your best friend that got, that was unalived. And so you guys were having a problem a week before. Like you said, you guys had an argument and then he stormed out and this and that, And so you were where at 3 p.m. exactly where he got unalived, and you were doing what at 3? Oh, you guys had an argument a couple minutes before that. You know what I mean? And and that blood was on the shirt. And you gather the truth, right? By gathering all of these different context clues. I seen someone say that's manipulation. I want you to understand that manipulation exists everywhere around you. So if you are too scared to manipulate people because, it's wrong to get what I want from people and to get it out of them and to be able to control them and their emotions and their feelings, you're being manipulated every day. Newsflash. I don't know if you know that. You're being manipulated every day. Not just by people you love, but also by the world around you. You do understand, someone just said it, Elise is so smart. Before I even said it, marketing, all marketing is manipulation. You see ads every single day. That is manipulation. Do you think when you see those kids in Africa with flies on their faces, drinking dirt water, right? Eating absolutely the worst of the worst food. And they tell you, if you just donate $100, you'll save a couple children in Africa from passing away from drinking dirty water. What do you think that's meant to do? Right? You do realize not every child in Africa looks like that and lives like that. Right? Not to say that, people don't struggle, but you do realize that's not everyone. And you do also realize that not 100% of all the money you send always goes to exactly what you're looking at on the TV. There's a lot of money that has to exchange hands before it gets to the child in Africa with flies on their faces. They're not going to tell you that. On the TV, they're just going to show you the sad story. And then they're going to tell you a story about how this mother's been struggling and she can't even go to the well. And then, life is so hard and life is so tragic and this and that. What are they trying to do? They're trying to pull on your heartstrings, right? So you feel a connection to those humans that you're watching on the screen, right? So you feel a connection to their story, right? And what does it make you do? It makes you get your wallet out and send them money. Send money to people you don't know. Send money that you can't track where it's going or if it's even being given to the people that you think it's being given to. Right? This is not to demonize the infomercials with the kids in Africa, but I just want you to understand that everything around you is manipulation, right? The whole aspect of marketing as a business, I'm marketing to you because I'm trying to influence you to purchase my product or service more, right, than you would purchase someone else's product or service. I'm trying to get you to come out of money that's in your pocket and give it to me in exchange for my product or service, right? And the key is the people that make the most money, it's not really about how high quality your product is. It's about how well you can market that product. Okay. And like I said, marketing is all about psychology. And if you say, oh, it's manipulation to know how someone will react and think about something and then how they'll respond if I say a particular thing or I do a particular thing, well, then you're also acknowledging that all the ads around you, all the business that goes on around you is manipulation because they're trying to elicit a particular response from you by presenting you with images, pictures, comments, words, whatever it may be, to persuade you into making a decision to purchase their product or service. Do you see how that works? All right. And the only reason I say that is because when I go through all of this stuff, I know when I say creating a deep romantic connection, and then even when I say make it comfortable, you want to make sure you're asking the right questions to extract the truth. Some of you guys go, oh, but that's wrong. That's so wrong. You're manipulating him to get what you want out of this situation. Newsflash, everyone's manipulating everyone. And the only people, right? The only people that get taken advantage of and used and they're shriveled up, dried because they've been used by everyone, crumpled up and thrown away are the people who either don't know how to manipulate or are too scared, right, to actually go out and get what they want from people, right? Because newsflash, you can get your dream relationship, but you're going to have to do some things for it. Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're going to have to do some things for it. If you want to call it manipulation to get a guy to act right, I'm saying, hey, call it what you want. You can call it what you want. But they won't call you single. They won't call you a side chick. Okay? They won't call you the used up girl who has never been able to hold down a man. Okay? They'll call you a wife. Okay? They'll call you the love of someone's life. Okay? The people who are too scared to manipulate, or I don't want to manipulate. I don't want to know. I'll just be me. Cool. People will use you and people will manipulate you. You can either do the manipulating or you can get manipulated. That is the world that we live in. The people who do not want to take advantage of the resources at their disposal get taken advantage of. It's just the life that we live in. You can either learn how things work. Your best bet, if you want a really great relationship, your best bet is to learn how human beings work and how they respond to things. That's what I try to teach you and share with you, is how human beings work and how they respond to things. If you don't want to learn that or you feel like that's too much work, you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer. Okay? So make it comfortable was number 3. You want to become his therapist, right? You want to get him in the mood of talking so we can get to number 4. So we had number 1 was stop texting. Number 2 was no app communication. Number 3 was make it comfortable. Number 4, create questions. Notice I said create questions. Notice I said create questions. Notice I said create questions. If you're truly serious about building a deep romantic connection with someone, you need to spend some dedicated time, right, writing your questions down so that when you get to the situation or you get to the date or you get to the whatever, right? You actually know and remember what to ask and how you wanted to ask it. I promise you, you guys might think it's silly, but trust me, when you go on a date with someone and you're like, oh, I had some questions that I wrote down that I wanted to ask you on my phone, right? Trust me, you might think, oh, they're going to think it's weird or whatever. They're going to think, they're going to think I'm a weirdo, that I'm trying to trick them or whatever. No. What's going to happen is most people are going to be like, no, you're really invested in this. You're invested in our relationship. You're invested even more importantly in me. And what does it do? It feeds someone's ego where they're like, oh my God, you're so invested in me that you wrote down questions in preparation for our date. Do I matter that much? Right? And what also ends up happening is they begin to feel an obligation to answer your questions because you took the time to write them down and present them to you on this date. So now I feel an obligation that, oh my God, you actually took time outside of just us being here to ask me particular questions on this date. And they're like, well, yeah, I'll answer your questions. They feel flattered, and it's natural. Anyone would feel like that. You feel flattered that someone cares enough about you, little old you, that they would even be bothered enough to prepare questions for you for what you thought was a silly date. And just that fast, you stand out so much more to that person, and they also feel that much more obligated to answer your questions. You understand what I mean, right? Diana says, can you also ask them when you know them for a longer time? Yeah. It will definitely switch the dynamic, because if they're you, the thing is, people become accustomed to just people not caring, right? So when you go on dates, people become accustomed to, oh, I go on a date with someone and they're not really invested in me. They don't really care about me. They're just kind of on this date because whatever. And they just kind of want to see how it goes. When you bring an enthusiasm with, no, I want to know you. No, I want to learn about you. People start to feel like, oh my God, do you think I'm special? You make me feel so special that you want to learn and understand me. But what also happens is they open up even more because they feel, right? Like, oh my God, you're really invested in me. This isn't just a date for free food for you. You came with questions prepared for me. Like, of course I'll answer your questions. That's awesome. Now they get to thinking, oh my God, the next date that we go on, I got to have some questions for her. People start to mirror your, it's a really interesting, I don't want to say trick, but it's a really interesting trick that you can play on people where if you want them to treat you a certain way and you present that to them first, a lot of times when they're into you or interested in you, right? That same quality that you've presented to them, that unique quality, they want to mirror that. I'm telling you, try it. Go on a date and I don't want you to try to memorize the questions. I literally want you to say, I just want to bring out my phone because I wrote down a couple of questions that I really wanted to ask you, because I'm like super interested in getting to know you more. And I promise you, the next few dates, if he really likes you, the next few dates, he's going to come to one of those dates with some questions that he had for you. Trust me. And you'll start this snowball effect where both of you guys are trying your best to be invested in the other person. Trust me, it's like magic how this happens. Okay, that's why I say to create questions. It will first of all, it will help some of you guys who have social anxiety that feel like you can't hold a conversation with people or talk to people for long periods of time, or you don't know what to ask, or you don't know what to say, you don't feel like you're charismatic or whatever it may be, right? It will help some of you guys remember what you wanted to say, right, beforehand. And then when you get on the date, you won't be so nervous that, oh my God, am I going to remember this question? Or, oh my God, we got sidetracked. Am I going to remember what I wanted to ask him? Right? Someone said, I'm just bored at this point. Hard to pretend I care. If you feel like you're too bored to even care about the other person and their life, you shouldn't even go on that date in the first place. And if you don't feel like you care about anyone, you're not even in the right mental space to be on a date. Because you won't be bringing the right energy to the date where you're going to see any positive outcome anyways. You truly have to have real interest in the person that you're going on a date with, right? in order to bring this mindset that brings that type of energy, right? That people get enthusiastic talking to you and feel like they're connecting with you anyways. If you feel like everyone's too boring or everyone's, you don't have time for no one or whatever it may be, don't even go on the date. You're wasting their time and your time, right? CFAT says, why didn't I find you when I was younger? No one teaches us how to date. I had to learn this too in the process of just living and going through relationships and understanding, what a deep connection feels like and how I got to that point, right? It's a dance. It's a really interesting dance, right? And you can write down as many questions as you can think of. And the amazing part about it is when you start to create questions on your own time, you make questions that are so much more interesting, right? And it becomes so much more fun. I think someone just said, Adriana said, is a fun first date okay? Yeah, that's perfectly fine. A fun first date is perfectly fine, but I would say at some point in the date, let it get deep. Like, you don't want the whole date to be just fun and no deepness. So if you guys are going to a bounce house for the date, let there be some time after the date where you guys sit down, maybe eat some food and have a real conversation. Don't let the whole thing just be fun, and you never get to have any deep, heart-to-heart conversation, okay? So you want to create questions, right? You come up with questions about someone's background, right? Their past, whether it be their past relationships or their life, the things that they've been through, right? So that you can better understand who they are as a person, right? So spend some time by yourself creating those questions. Now, I know some of you guys, what question should I ask? What's a question I should ask? I don't know. What are the questions? What are the questions? I don't know, Thompson. I don't know how to think unless you tell me exactly how to think and feel. And what should I say? What should I say? Relax. I'm gonna give you an example of a question you can ask, right? That would be a really good type of question to go on a date with, okay? So you can write this down or you can screen record it, whatever you want to do to remember this question. I'm only going to give you one though. The rest, got to come up with on your own. Okay, so for example, what is an event in your life that was most painful to go through, but you think you learned the most from? What do you think you learned? I'll say it again for some of you guys who missed it or you're slow typers. For example, right? This is the example. What is an event in your life that was the most painful to go through, but you think you learned the most from? What did you learn? Right? Now, this should get your mind spinning on the types of things you should be working towards. Fruit Gem said, crazy question. Exactly. You guys, so you always, type of questions, when I say create questions, you want to be asking, and obviously this is after you've made it comfortable for them. So you built some rapport, you've talked about some basic stuff, you know what I mean? You want to be asking questions after a period of time that are questions or answers that he would feel uncomfortable giving to a crowd of people or a group of friends. Okay, that's the area that you want to be in the types of questions that you're asking. They should be intimate questions. Assuming you're moving this forward the proper way, these questions should get more and more intimate to the point where you're asking questions that you wouldn't even feel comfortable answering in front of a crowd of people or in front of a group of friends, right? Those are good questions to be asking, right? And I know, someone just said earlier, they're like, that's a crazy question. Exactly, right? And it's even better because think about this. If you're trying to build a romantic connection with someone, you have to get deep. You have to get deep, right? If you're trying to be casual friends with someone, cool. Don't ask those type of questions. But there should be no, this is too crazy to ask. There should be no, this is too intimate to ask, right? Harmony just said scary, right? But it would be, think about it. It would be scary if you spent all your time and your love life on the surface, not really getting to know people, not really understanding them, right? And why do you think you're here? You've struggled in your relationships. Why do you think you go around and you see some people, oh my God, they've been married for so long, or oh my God, they have such a deep, amazing bond, or oh my God, their relationship goals. That takes work, right? That takes uncomfortable conversations, right? That takes intimate conversations. Intimacy is not just putting his pencil inside your Squirtle for 2 minutes, okay? That is also a version of that, not a version, that also is intimacy. Asking those intimate questions and having intimate conversations about yourself, your life, your experiences, all of that stuff makes you and your partner who they are uniquely, right? So you need to be talking about those things. If you're truly serious about building a deep romantic connection with someone, you need to be talking about those things. And like I said, when you begin having these conversations with people, it'll be very easy to decipher who's serious from who's not serious, meaning the guys who are playing you from who's not playing you. I promise you, it'll be quite a struggle for the guys who are playing you to start having these deeper conversations with you, right? Because even the guys that are playing you will understand that, first of all, they're not here to get deep. And also, it exposes them a lot more if they start telling you about who they are, what their past has been, what they think about, what their mind is on, right? Because it'll raise up all the red flags to you about who they truly are. And the guys that are playing you are trying to keep this wall between you guys where you can't really actually see who they really are. Everything's a facade. It's all smoke and mirrors, right? Because if you were to actually see what's behind the veil, right, behind the smoke and mirrors, you'd realize it's all just a sham. Okay? And the guys who are playing you don't want you to know that, right? That's why building a deep connection with someone, or trying to, is always a good way to get rid of the guys who are just trying to play you. They're not there to build a deep connection with you. So you're always going to find a lot of resistance. And even the guys who are just placating you, right? And are just doing it just to do it, you're going to realize they're doing it just to do it, right? You're going to be able to tell. You're going to be able to tell, especially when you start trying to get deep. That's why I say the step before creating questions is to make it comfortable. And you make it comfortable. I'll give you an example too. And I said this before, by making it comfortable. You want to start off, if some of you guys are like, I don't know how to build rapport, I don't know how to do that. Start off, this is a simple way to build rapport. Figure out what it is they like, whatever their hobby is, whether it be football, basketball, softball, baseball, whatever. If they have a hobby, or fishing, whatever it may be, cheerleading, I don't know. And then you ask them, hey, I know that you're super into fishing. Can you teach me, like, if I wanted to start fishing, like, how would I hold the rod? Or like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what's the technique? And just allow him to teach you about whatever it is that he's most interested in, or whatever it is his hobby is. Okay? Because guys love teaching you as their woman about something that they're already very interested in. Okay? Guys love doing that. Right? And it's a great way to start making him comfortable and getting him talking, because he doesn't feel like you're interrogating him. Right? He feels more like this is a conversation and you just want to know more and understand better. So he answers your questions, right? Unbeknownst to him, that you're actually trying to, use this as a segue to ask him deeper and deeper questions, until you're no longer asking him about, why is this a penalty in football? And now you're asking him, how does it make him feel that he never watched football with his dad when he was a child? Okay? And you can progressively get deeper and deeper and deeper. And I'm telling you, when you're doing it the right way, it's like a magic trick. People don't even notice. Because they get so wrapped up in talking about themselves that they don't even realize they've been talking about themselves for so long. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Oh my goodness. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Or are you confused? Right? Very important. You want to create questions, and you make them comfortable first before you ask these questions. Okay? So number 1 was stop texting. Number 2, no app communication. Number 3, make it fun. Make it comfortable and fun. And number 4 was create questions. Number 5 is eliminate distractions. Okay, now we're going to get into very scary territory. Okay? Very scary territory. I want you guys to be very mentally prepared for this. Okay? This is actually going to hurt a lot of your feelings. Okay? Because we're going to talk about some things that you do as well, but they're hurting you in all of your relationships. Okay? Eliminate distractions. Now, that includes stimulants of any kind during the conversation. So, if you really are serious about building a deep connection with someone, like in all seriousness, there needs to be at least one date, a couple dates, averaging out maybe every other date. You guys, dinner dates are great. Okay. Going out to the movies is great. Going out for dinner, going out to the, trampoline house, going this place, going that place. Cool. The fun dates are fun. They're amazing. Awesome. Great for building time, bonding. But at some point in your dating life with this person, okay, you guys need to have a dedicated, what I would call soul to soul connection, like a therapy time, a personal therapy. Your partner gives you therapy, you give your partner therapy, right? Like a soul to soul connection. What I mean by a soul to soul connection is a time where both of you can sit down in a quiet room. So at his house or at your house, wherever it may be, because obviously in the span of you guys dating, at some point you're going to have to go to each other's house, okay? So obviously this will be a little bit down the road. There has to come a point where you guys sit down in a quiet room and you have no distractions and you sit there and you talk. How many of you have ever been in a relationship, let me even ask it like this. How many of you, it is scary, the idea of sitting with someone in a quiet room with nothing else going on, just talking? Right? Is that scary for you? I want you to answer in the chat. Is it scary for you, the idea of sitting with someone in a quiet room and just talking to them? Okay. Someone said it's fine for me. Eula says no. Soph says terrifying. Nora says no. Harmony says yep. Right? Someone says no, but for guys it is. Someone else says not at all. Tasha says yes. Someone says kind of. Lauren says no. Right? Someone else says yes, it's scary. A Light of Rose in the YouTube chat says it's fine with me. Okay. Rose says not when I know them already. Rim says no. Batia says I can't talk forever. Adriana says talk about what? Okay. Yes, that's realness. C5 says I don't like being alone with guys I don't know that well. And I mean well. Yeah, well, this is assuming that you guys are comfortable enough with each other to even be alone in a room together. I'm not talking about, right at the beginning. Harmony says I need several drinks. We'll get to that. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about that. Now, eliminate distractions as it relates to no TV, right? No cell phones, no lights, no games, nothing going on. No Netflix in the background. I know some of you guys just like to have Netflix or something playing in the background, and that makes you feel comfortable. The reason I say that is because I know, you see how I talked about this texting and the phone addiction and the app addiction, right? For a lot of us, it's created this unnecessary social anxiety where we're so used to connecting with people over the phone, we lose the ability to connect with people in real life. And we're so used to having stimulants in our life all the time that to actually sit down in front of another human being and just talk to them, not have anything else going on, is scary. And it's crazy. It is crazy that sitting down and talking to another human being, just talking, is scary to a lot of us. Right? And the reason I say, if you're really trying to build a deep connection with someone, you have to eliminate distractions at some point in your dating time, right? Multiple times. I would honestly say frequently. There should be dedicated time where you eliminate distractions. is because this is the only way you can really get to know someone. Even if you're in the process of getting to know someone in a talking stage, whatever, and you're trying to be like, I'm trying to see, okay, is this guy, someone I really want to be with or whatever. Take the opportunity, either meet at your house or his house, if your house is more comfortable. And I want you to be like, okay, today we're going to go on we're going to have a date where we just sit down and we just talk, nothing else going on. And I promise you, your eyes will be open to what that guy is really about and how you really feel about that guy when you eliminate the distractions. Because a lot of times for you, the distractions, everything else going on, all the stimulants going out, we go out to eat, all the food, the this, the that, the music, the dance, the this, everyone's yelling, screaming, and none of that allows you to be in touch with your intuition or your soul enough to really decide, do I like you or not? Am I feeling you or not? Do I like the way you talk, the way you act, the way you go about life? Do I like your approach? Do I like our connection or not? Because a lot of you are finding yourselves in relationships with people that you don't really like, or you're not really attracted to, or vice versa, that don't really like you or aren't really attracted to you. And then you're sitting there wondering, damn, why don't I feel it? Or why don't I like this person? Or why does it feel like we're only really bonding when we go out to the club? Why does it feel like the only time we have fun is if we're going out to an expensive dinner? Right? Or you're wondering why you just aren't clicking or connecting with someone, because you probably never did. But all the time you spent all this other distractions, you're like, oh, well, I'm having fun, so we must be connecting. Oh, we go out to the club and we get drunk, so we must be connecting. Right? All of the distractions are working against your ability to determine if someone is truly here for you and if you're truly here for the other person as well. Right? I know someone earlier in the chat said, I'm so bored, I don't even want to get to know anyone. Yeah. So what do you think is going to happen if that guy is also not really truly interested in you? What do you think is going to happen on that date where you guys sit down with no distractions? You think he's going to be able to sit through that and just sit and talk to you when all he wanted to do was smash? No. So it'll be what I told you, with these techniques too, you can also use it to determine, okay, is he really actually serious, or is he just, not really into me, he's just playing me? Because I promise you, the guys who are not actually interested in you and just want your Squirtle, they're not going to sit down with you in a quiet room and just talk to you like therapy. They don't have time for that. No. They're not even interested enough in you to sit there and ask you questions about you. They're only interested about what you can do for them. Right? They're not going to sit there and have a conversation with you like that. Or you're going to meet that with a lot of resistance. Right? Right? Aline said, yep. A husband asked me what I wanted to do. I said, talk for a couple hours about our lives. Right? The guy, he said no. So basically I just left one of the 100 reasons. Exactly. Your partner, if you're confused about, okay, is this person worth being my partner? Is this person worth being romantic with? You should be able to sit down in a quiet room and just talk with your partner. If that makes you or your partner uncomfortable, you're not in the right relationship. I'm going to tell you straight up. You are not in the right relationship if that makes you or your partner uncomfortable. The idea of you guys sitting and just having a conversation with no distractions. Like, that is the essence of the relationship. Yeah, you guys might have kids. Yeah, you're a big house. Yeah, you got money. Yeah, you're beautiful, all that good stuff. But the essence of your relationship should always be, I can sit down with you in a quiet room with no distractions and just talk to you. Because I'm interested in you, because I care what you have to say, because I enjoy speaking to you. If that gives you anxiety, or you're like, I'm not sure what we're going to talk about, I don't know, it's going to be boring, we're going to be quiet for so long, and you're not in the right relationship. Because that should not be giving you extreme anxiety, right? Even if you don't know what you're going to talk about, there should be an understanding that like, that's fine. Like, we'll just talk. Like, the conversation is going to go somewhere. Right? Adriana also says silence is comfortable with the right person. She's been giving a lot of good comments today. Silence is comfortable with the right person. Right? You will be very uncomfortable in silence, quietness, stillness with someone who you're uncomfortable around. See, this is the thing too. This will also help you gauge how interested you are in another guy. If you're not that interested in him, or you're repulsed by him, or there's an energy about him that makes you uncomfortable, you'll definitely feel that when there's stillness. You understand? And I told you that you guys are so in touch with your intuition, right? But you never get a chance to hear your intuition when all this stuff is going on, stimulating you in the background and around you, that you can't actually focus on how you feel. But in the stillness, when you're just sitting in front of him face to face, looking in his eyes, you're going to be able to feel what you're actually feeling. And you're going to be able to have more clarity as, oh, no, I am into you. I do like you. I want this relationship. You are the person. Or you might look into his eyes and you get in the feeling, oh, I'm super uncomfortable. I do not like this. I want to run. In which case you're not in the right relationship. But at least you'll know. Okay? You'll know. Because your intuition, your mind, your feelings, your gut, all of that stuff, it will speak to you. But it's a lot harder to hear that when you got loud music, you got people yelling, you got going out, you're this and that, you got friends, everyone's talking. You can't focus on how you feel when there's a lot of other stuff going on. Right? CMS says better to find out sooner than later. I agree. I 100% agree. Because the feeling that you have when there's stillness and you're just spending time with someone, that will tell you a lot about how you really feel, and you'll never forget that. And I think for a lot of you, you're scared of what that feeling will communicate to you about that person or that relationship, that you don't want to just be still. Excuse me, right? Because that's the scary part. Right? Someone said there was this one time we were together in bed in the silence and he didn't start a convo. Telling you. Melissa says, yeah, anxiety can make us do dumb things. Calmness will bring clarity. 100%. You need to have calmness. You need to have stillness so that you can have clarity. Right? Safi says in stillness, they can't confuse or play games. I 100% agree. You guys have to understand too, part of the game is the magic trick of, oh, look at this rabbit in front of your hat. You don't even notice that I'm taking your wallet. Right? Look at the beautiful flowers. They're pink and red. Oh, I just stole your Squirtle. Right? That's part of the game, is the facade of look at this and look at that and everything's bright and shiny and colorful. You don't realize that I'm just playing you, right? You don't realize what's actually standing in front of you, right? You don't see any of the signs. You're just focused on the bright and the shiny lights and all the colors and all the stimulus. Everything's amazing, right? But when you sit down and you have none of that going on, it's a lot harder for me to fool you. If I'm a magician, but I have no tools to utilize, right? To take your attention here and take your attention here and take your attention here. Now there's no magic trick. Because the magic trick is just putting your attention somewhere else while I finagle and maneuver the magic, or finagle and maneuver the finesse, right? I put your attention over here while I finesse over here. You understand? In the calmness and the stillness, it's a lot harder to do that. Right? Someone says they can't stay still because he's putting on a performance. I agree. It'll be a lot harder he'll resist a lot. Right? the idea of just being calm and still and having a conversation with you if he's trying to play you. He's going to resist that. Because you can't play someone when you're sitting in front of them just having a real conversation with them. It becomes real then. It becomes real. Right? CFAT in the YouTube chat says he's going to start putting the moves on you if he doesn't really want to get to know you. That's what always happens to me. I 100% agree. Some of the guys who are trying to play you, they'll also, right, use that as an opportunity to say, why do we have to have a conversation? Why don't we just, yo, you look so pretty, girl. Yo, I'm trying to kiss your face, type, right? And they're going to try to lead you in that direction so they can avoid actually having to have a real conversation with you. Because that's not why they're there. That's not why they're there. So why would he sit there and have a 2-hour-long conversation with you when he could just, oh, your lips look so luscious, girl. I'm trying to kiss you, girl. I'm trying to see what you about, yo. I can't shove my pencil inside your Squirtle, girl. He's going to want to move it right back to where he wants the focus to be, not on you guys having a silly soul-to-soul conversation. That's too silly for him, right? So that's number 5, eliminate distractions, okay? So number 1 was stop texting. Number 2, no app communication. Number 3, make it comfortable. Number 4, create questions. Number 5, eliminate distractions. Number 6 is very important. This one's going to hurt your feelings, so I just want you to be mentally prepared. Number 6, no drugs. No drugs or alcohol. I know that consists of distractions and stimulus, but I wanted to make this a separate point because a lot of you get lost. This is where a lot of you get lost. Now we're going to have a serious conversation. Because when I say eliminate distractions, no phone, no TV, all that good stuff, everyone's like, yeah, sure, yeah, whatever. When I say no drugs, no alcohol, everyone goes, sorry, what did you say something about what? I didn't hear that one. Okay. Someone said, what about social media? Social media is the same thing. It's the same thing as a distraction. No phones. If I say no phones, no social media. But no drugs and no alcohol. Because this is what's happening to a lot of you. A lot of you guys are wondering why you don't understand the guy or how he's pulling the wool over your eyes. But every time you're around him, you're either high or you're drunk. And you wonder why you don't really know what he's about. How can you possibly know what he's about when every time you're around him, you're either high or drunk? Or you're participating in some sort of what you would consider an anxiety decreasing stimulant that you feel like, oh, well, it's not getting me high, it's not getting me drunk, it just helps me, relax. Like vaping. Okay? I'm going to get mad for a second. So just prepare for a rant, okay? Vaping is also a drug, okay? Vaping is also a drug. It is also a distraction. You want to know why? Do you want to know why? I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to get mad right now. Because when I go into the club, okay? When I go into the club, and I live in downtown Toronto, so it's not like I live in the middle of nowhere, okay? I be seeing the real stuff, right? I live in a big city. When I go to the club and I see people, right, like this, vaping, people be like, oh, but I vape, it's a head rush, it's a this, it's a that. Is it really? Because when I go to the club and I watch people vaping, they got their drink in this hand, they got their vape in this hand, they can't even put their arm past 90 degrees because they're scared that the vape will be too far away from their mouth that they won't be able to get the next puff in the next 30 to 20 seconds. Does that sound like fun or does that sound like an addiction? Because if I showed 7-year-old you a video of 20-something-year-old you scrambling around, losing your mind. Oh my God, where did I put my USB stick? I can't find it. Is it under the couch? Is it in my coat? I can't. Guys, where did my USB stick go? I can't find it anywhere. I need to. I can't find my USBs. No, I can't go to the meeting or the appointment until I find my USB stick. Imagine 7-year-old you watching a video of 20-something-year-old you losing your mind because you can't find your USB stick. Okay? Does that sound like fun to you, or does that sound like an addiction? Okay? And I'm not saying this because I want to make you feel bad about who you are, but like I want you to understand, right? The types of things you are doing, right? To distract yourself from feeling whatever it is you're feeling. Because rest assured, if you're going to tell me all the vape is doing for you is giving you a head rush, I can promise you, you're trying to distract yourself from something. Why do you need a consistent head rush? Why do you need the consistent, whatever the feeling is that the vaping is doing for you? Because for most of you, the vape more closely resembles less of a cigarette, and it resembles more of a pacifier. Now I know you guys don't want to hear this. I know this is the talk you guys don't want to hear. Because when you're sitting here and the vape is in your mouth every 20 seconds and you can't put it down for a single second, you walk around with it and you wake up with it and you go to bed with it and it's by your bedside table. It's way more than just a drug. That's a pacifier. That is literally a pacifier, right? And I know some of you guys are like, what does vaping have to do with my ability to build a romantic relationship or a connection? Vaping's not destroying my relationships. Well, think about it like this, right? If the vaping is comforting you, right? Or masking whatever feeling that you don't want to have if you're not vaping, then what do you think is happening when you're in a relationship trying to get to know someone, truly trying to get to know someone and understand them and build a connection with them? When your mind is clouded with whatever you're using to mask your ability to be present here right now and feel whatever it is you're feeling right now. Okay? I hate to get all philosophical on you and sound like a dad. I hate when I have dad talk. But a lot of the stuff that you're doing, participating in life, you're only doing it to make it easier for you to stop feeling what you're feeling right now, stop thinking what you're thinking right now, right? And escape to somewhere else, right? But when you're trying to build a real serious romantic relationship with someone, you need to be here and present. This is also why you're getting played. I know you're probably like, how is vaping helping me get played? Stay with me. Stay with the concept, right? Because they're all distractions, right? And it's part of the mindset of, oh, I don't want to feel whatever I'm feeling right now. I need something that will make me feel something different. Think something different. Take me to a different place. You cannot build a real connection with someone when your mind is always focused on how can I do something, take something, ingest something to take me to a different mental state, rather than sit here and feel whatever it is that I'm feeling. Think whatever it is I'm thinking, right? I know it sounds so hippie. Oh, this don't make. You talking about spiritual hippie stuff, bro. I'm not gonna stop vaping so I can have a better boyfriend. That don't make no sense. But I'm telling you, you guys be like, my intuition, this and that. Your intuition is blocked when you're participating in all these activities to take yourself away from your center. Do you think you can be grounded while you're vaping? Is that what you think? Right? And I don't mean to diss all the vapors. I've seen some of you guys saying that, oh, I'm vaping right now. And I hate you guys know it's that deep person. I'm never going to be the, oh, it's not that deep person. It's that deep friend that you have in your life. Everything for me is it's that deep. Because really, that's how the world works. But we all want to convince ourselves, oh, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. And then we wonder why our connections and our friendships aren't that deep either. If that's how you want to live your life, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. Yep, for sure, for sure. You won't have no deep friendships, no deep connections either. No deep partners, no deep romantic relationships, none of that. You won't have no deep nothing. Right? You really have to be thinking about what you're doing and how what you're doing is affecting, right, the world around you, the people around you. What ends up happening to you. Okay? And obviously, when I talk about weed and when I talk about alcohol, it's a lot easier to understand. I had to, get on vaping because some people think, but it's just vaping, right? Same way some people think, oh, well, it's just weed. It's just a little bit of a high. But why do you feel like you need to get high to be with someone? Why do you feel like, and some people be like, oh, but I have too much anxiety if I'm sober. Why do you have so much anxiety? Do you have anxiety being around the person sober? That's a whole problem in itself. If the person you plan on spending the rest of your life with, you feel too much anxiety to be sober around, you need to reevaluate that relationship. Truly. Truly. You're going to spend the rest of your life with that person and it makes you feel uncomfortable to not be high around that person? Or you only feel comfortable if you're high around that person? How is that sustainable? Right? How is that sustainable? How are you possibly supposed to know what you're thinking and you're feeling if you're about that person, if you're always high around that person, or if you're always drunk around that person? I've had some people say that, they always go out with someone and they get drunk with friends and stuff like that. Go to the club with their man or with their person that they're seeing. How are you ever supposed to know how you truly feel about that person if you're always drunk around them? Or whenever you guys get together, you guys always smoke. Oh, the smoking helps us have deep conversation. Does it really? Does it really? Or does it help you, stop feeling the anxiety that you feel when you're around that person? Or just in general? Because some of you guys have anxiety in general. And rather than dealing with that internal anxiety and figuring out what in your life is giving you that constant anxiety, you just want to be high and not think about it. And then you wonder why your relationships aren't working when you haven't even fixed within yourself why you have constant anxiety all the time. I told you I didn't want to make this, a super dad talk, but this type of, if I'm going to tell you how to build real deep romantic connections, I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell you go around and get high with your partner all the time. You're going to have to just be able to sit down and talk with your partner and just have a conversation. I hate to sound like a dad, okay? Because I'm supposed to be just your friend. But that's the honest truth. And I'm not, guys, this is where I even need to be more clear. I am not saying that as someone who's sitting on their high horse. Guys, I can't believe you would ever vape. I can't believe you would ever smoke cigarette. I can't believe you'd ever drink alcohol. That's so disgusting. I can't believe you peasants would ever do that. No, I'm saying that as someone how old am I now? The first 24 years of my life, I was not since I was young, but being a teenager and then, being in my early 20s, I was a drinker. I know everyone has their different things and I just took a dump on vaping, but I was a drinker. Every time I would go out, I get drunk. You know what I mean? Rarely I would be blackout drunk, but that was only because I had such a high tolerance for drinking. And so I'm an outgoing person. So if I go out 2-3 times a week or 4 times a week sometimes, then I'm drunk 3-4 times a week. Right? And I was wondering why my relationships and my friendships even weren't working in the direction that I wanted them to. I was wondering why I wasn't really able to build really deep romantic connections with people. When most of the girls that I ended up spending time with, most of the time we would always go out and I'd be drunk with them. So how would I ever know if we were building a real deep connection if we're always drunk every time we're together? Now, I quit drinking like a year and a half ago. So I haven't taken a single drink of anything since then. And I don't smoke. I don't do anything now. I don't take anything. But I'm not saying that to say I'm better than you. I'm just saying that to say I've been where you are. So don't think that I speak from, oh, I'm on a high horse. I never take a sip of alcohol, and I've never, used different drugs or alcohol to mask, my feelings or whatever like that. I'm saying that because I've actually experienced that, not because I wrote about it in a paper. Okay? But I want to help you guys understand how serious this is. All right? Dan said, I'm looking for a good lady who doesn't drink nor smoke. That'd be amazing, right? Grace said, people outside here be faking deep connection when sober. It's a lot harder to fake a deep connection when you're sober. It's a lot easier to fake a deep connection when you're drunk or you're high, right? Right? So very important. I know I didn't want to make it. Are you guys following what I'm saying? I know that was a deep one, and that was like, kind of felt like dad-splaining. But like, do you guys see why that is important? Do you see why that is important? No drugs if you're trying to build a serious, deep connection with someone. Not saying, oh my God, if you take a drug, you're so bad and you'll never build a good connection ever. But like, I just want you guys to understand there needs to be at least a period of time where you can be with the person and not have other things going on. You can just be with the person, right? Because this is supposed to represent what the rest of your life will be with that person. If you can't be good with just the person and not being high, just being sober, being with the person, not having anything else going on, if you can't be good with that, the rest of your relationship is not anything, right? You can't build off of that if you don't at least have that. I think I just felt an earthquake in NYC. Sorry, off topic. I believe there was an earthquake earlier. I think that was like last night or something. Was there another earthquake? There was an earthquake though. There was like a 4.8 on the east coast of the United States, right? Yeah, that was like a side note. Anyways, no drugs. So that was number 6. So number 1 was stop texting. There was another earthquake just now on the east coast. That's insane. I didn't feel it this morning though. I'm in Toronto. If you're in Montreal and you felt that, that's weird that I didn't feel that. I was at the gym though this morning. That's weird. Anyways, stop texting is number 1. Number 2 is no app communication. Number 3, make it comfortable. Number 4, create questions. Number 5, eliminate distractions. Number 6 was no drugs. And number 7, we have keep notes. Okay, so I talked to you guys about asking questions. Make sure you're writing down the questions. Now, it is always a good idea. I recommend, this is like a hack. Okay, when somebody tells you things about themselves, about what they like, whether it be like their favorite color, their favorite food, what gifts they've always wanted, a trip they've always wanted to go on, especially at the beginning of a relationship, especially if you're dating multiple people, even if you're not, it's always a good practice to keep notes of what that person likes and like just almost like a personal profile of like, okay, favorite color is red. They love tacos. They love spicy food. Okay, they've never been on a trip to Greece. They've always wanted to go on a trip to Greece. I'm going to make sure that, if I get the opportunity to plan a trip to Greece or whatever it may be, you know what I mean? Right? It's always a good idea to keep notes of what that person likes, what they don't like, what they're into, what they're not into, because what happens is you can call back to this when you're planning gifts or planning dates or whatever it may be, right? Because in the process of you dating someone and being in a serious relationship, like you're obviously going to have to reciprocate, what they want and what they like. It can't just all be about what you want. But a great way to show someone that you're listening to them and you care about what they care about and what they want is to show interest in the things that they care about. And then also recall the things that they've told you. You know what I mean? So this is even geared towards people who are already in a relationship. If you want to build back up that excitement of like being interested in each other and feeling like you're dating again, you can start keeping track of the things that they love doing, and then just come one day and be like, you said you love fishing, so let's go fishing today. I got the fishing rods. I got us a boat, right? I'm not saying at the beginning you go out and you start asking guys on fishing dates. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm giving that example for the people who are already in serious relationships. But I'm just saying you can keep notes so that in the process of dating that person, as you're building that deeper connection and that deeper relationship, right? You can be like, okay, I know what they like. I know what they're into. Because sometimes when you're talking to people or you're having conversations with someone, or especially if you're dating multiple people at once, whatever it is that you're doing, sometimes it can get confusing, or you can start to forget the individual likes and dislikes of each unique person. And it's very touching as an individual when someone is listening to you, but also listening enough that you can tell them something and then days later, they remember it. Or even the fact that they care enough that when you tell them it, they write it down because they want to remember it, right? That also shows that you care a lot. And that also helps build a much deeper connection, right? So keep a notepad or a notebook, or put it in your notes, whatever their favorite colors are, gifts are, things that they enjoy, that they don't enjoy, hobbies, things like that. So you got a list. You know exactly what the playbook is on that person. You know what I mean? And then do the job of mentioning those small things, if you can, in conversations, just to remind them that you know and you care. Because like I said before, as you're building this deeper connection with someone and they see that you're that invested, they will also want to be more invested as well. It's like a snowball effect. As you are with a guy and you see that he doesn't care, you are like, all right, whatever, I'm not going to care either. It's the same way, vice versa. When you're dating a guy and they see also like you care, like obviously like assuming that he's treating you well and with respect, and he sees that you care a lot, he's even going to want to be like, I want to be even more invested in you because you take this relationship seriously. So I want to take it seriously as well. I'm not saying you do that to try to convince a guy to like you. I'm not saying do that. I'm talking about the guys who are already interested in you, already showing you respect. Okay. Now, does that make sense to you guys? All 7 of those. Okay. Let me know what questions you guys have as it relates to what we just discussed, how to create a deep romantic connection, right? What are the questions you guys have as it relates to that? Obviously it's Friday, so I'll stay and I'll answer more of your questions. Okay, so number 1 was stop texting. Number 2 was no app communication. Number 3, make it comfortable. Number 4 was create questions. Number 5, eliminate distractions. Number 6, no drugs. And number 7, keep notes. How to build a deep romantic connection with someone. Someone says recap, stop texting, please. The 2 was just text as a tool to schedule a conversation in person, schedule an in-person meeting or an over-the-phone conversation. And I just gave a single example. If you want to go back and see exactly what I said, just go to my YouTube page and you can go to the live section and rewatch this whole live. So don't think that it's gone forever if you missed anything. Okay? Fruit Chem says stop texting means slow down texting, girl. Yeah, I agree. Right? Someone says, what about if you're in a long distance relationship though? I talked to you guys about this earlier. If you're in a long distance relationship, you need to put concentrated effort into making sure that you are planning the next in-person hangout, whether you got to do it weeks or months ahead, and then also having high quality conversations in between that. So texting and FaceTime as much as possible. So you got to be scheduling FaceTime calls and phone calls and prioritizing those, because you ain't going to build no relationship over text. Okay, that's just the honest truth. I don't care if you're in a long distance relationship or not. You ain't gonna build no relationship over text. Okay. If texting and they need hint to move towards a date in person, what can you say or do? I would advise you, if you're trying to get them to move towards a date and they already have interest in you, just stop texting them. I don't mean like cold turkey, like don't text them back at all. I just mean like literally taper off the texting and text them a lot less throughout the day. I'm talking like maybe once or twice, 3 times a day. And when he addresses why are you not texting me as much, or why are you not, having as much text conversation with me as much as you used to, you say, I am super interested in you and I love talking to you, but I'm just not a big texting girly. I've got a lot going on, but I love to go out on a date where we could see each other in person. Right? And then let him do the job of being like, oh, I've got a great, bright idea. Why don't we go out on a date to this amazing taco spot? And you let him be the man and feel like he came up with the amazing idea to take you out on a date. You know what I mean? But you literally have to understand that the more access you give to yourself through texting, the less motivated he will be to like actually take you out on a date. So if you squeeze off his ability to have access to you through texting and social media and all that stuff, he'll be like, oh, the only way for me to speak to her is to take her on a date. So what do you think he's going to want to do if he's interested in you? He's going to ask you out on a date. Right? Someone said, I texted/called some every day for 6 weeks long distance and no plans of meeting. Waste of time. Absolute waste of time. If you're in a long distance relationship, that's why I said, you also have to have a very clear focus on when are we going to meet? When are we going to meet? Are we going to meet? Because trust me, I'm telling you, some of these guys and some girls as well, both ways, are doing this long distance thing just because they want company and just because they want someone that they can always talk to, right? But meanwhile, while they have someone they can always text and be a pen pal, they go out and they have their own relationships, right? But they have no intention of actually meeting their pen pal because they just wanted a pen pal. They're not trying to build a real relationship. They just want a pen pal or maybe someone, I don't know, right? Safi says exactly, company and boredom. In the YouTube chat, CFAT said, some guys on apps will ask for photos after a phone call that went well before they lock in a date. I feel that's disrespectful and say something about his character. Am I thinking too much into it? So if you're on a dating app, you have to understand the only way they can get an okay, let's be for real. Let's be so for real. Looks do matter. Whether you're a guy or a girl, looks do matter to some extent. I'm not saying they're the be all and end all, but like you can't, as a human being, you have to be presentable. Okay. It's just the truth for people to be attracted to you. Let's just be so for real. So I just say that to say, if you're on a phone call with the guy and he doesn't know what you look like, it's not unnatural that he would ask you for a photo of you to see or know what you look like. That's not a bad thing, right? Like, let's just be for real. Because at the end of the day, if he doesn't find you at least somewhat attractive, right, he's not going to necessarily think that this relationship is sustainable anyways, because he's going to want to be with someone who he feels physically attracted to. There's nothing unnatural or unkind about the idea that he would want to be in a relationship with someone he's physically attracted to. So him asking you for a picture, I'm assuming you just mean a picture of yourself, not like, oh, send me a spicy picture of you, naked or anything like that. If he's just asking you for a picture of yourself because maybe you don't have any on your profile or he doesn't know what you look like, there's nothing unnatural about that. Like, there's nothing unnatural about that. That's not wrong. LaPeaches in the YouTube chat said, how many photos are appropriate? I mean, it all depends on your situation. If he doesn't know what you look like at all, I would recommend you send him at least 2 pictures. One picture of your face, like a clear picture of your face to the neck, right? And then a clear picture of your body. I'm not saying you got to do anything crazy, but like, just be fair. Like, if you're meeting people over the internet, you got to let them know what you look like and just be fair. Like, so at least have a picture there that allows him to see what your body looks like. Not saying you got to, show him your ass, show him this, show him that. Like, no, I'm just saying, like, be fair. Okay. The same way you wouldn't want to be bamboozled by a guy who says, I'm a millionaire, and then you meet him and he works at McDonald's. It's just, you know what I mean? Like, just be fair. Right? CFAT in the YouTube chat said he's already seen my app photos. He's asking me to send more photos, and he's a complete stranger, so not really comfortable doing that. I mean, if your app photos are there and they're clear and, he can see all he needs to do, then, and he's got what he needs to get. If he's still confused, then, that's on him. That's on him. He's out of town for his birthday. Should I wait until he reaches once he's back? Oh, sorry, I want to read that again. Should I you said should I wait until he reaches once he's back, or should I what? To reach out? If he's out of town for, is that your boyfriend though? I'm assuming that's not your boyfriend. If it's his birthday and he's doing his thing, there's no need to reach out to him right now. And you guys, you for the most part, you want to allow guys to make their own decisions. So if he doesn't care enough for you to reach out to you, then he probably doesn't care that much. Just truthfully. Safi says if an online guy asks me for a sexy photo, I send him a photo from Lizzo's IG. What? What? If an online guy asks me for a sexy photo, I send him a photo from Lizzo's IG. Oh, I mean, I guess like if that's what you want to do, I think you're better off just saying no. Like that's weird. And to be honest, if a guy doesn't know you and he's asking you for a spicy photo, kind of a bad sign anyways. Bad sign. Bad sign. Luca says I go on a date with this guy. When I go home, he texting everything went good. 3 days later, he disappeared. Maybe he didn't find the date as interesting as you thought he did, or maybe he has some other things going on. Sometimes you never know what guys have going on. I'm talking about like other girls that they're juggling, right? Right. Sorry, let me look back at some of these questions that you guys had. If I didn't see your question, you can just send it again over again. Sometimes I miss them. Someone said, what if he only started asking you deep questions after he messed up in the relationship? What do you mean? Like, if he messed up in the relationship and then now he's asking you deep questions, maybe he's trying to discover some truth about maybe what you, I don't know. That's weird that he would ask deep questions after he messed up. Kind of weird. I'll just wait until he reaches out. Lord, now I have to wait for rejection. Yeah, guys, you guys don't want to get into the habit of like trying to you're like, oh well, he's not talking to me because I won't text him, so I'll text him more. No, he's not talking to you because he's not that interested in you. If he wanted to talk to you, he would text you. And then sometimes you guys are putting yourselves in positions where you're basically chasing after the guy and he's just being like, okay, I guess if you're gonna throw me free Squirtle, whatever, don't gotta do any work for it. My boyfriend texts me more than call me. I don't like it. What should I do? Stop texting him. Because if he's really your boyfriend and he really likes you, he's going to wonder why you stopped texting him. And then you tell him, I ain't going to be texting all day. I'm not a big texter. And then what's he going to do? He's going to be forced to call you or forced to do something else if he wants to see you. You literally have to cut it off so that the guy can be like, what happened? You tell him, hey, I ain't going to be texting. I ain't going to be Snapchatting. I don't got time for that. And then if he really likes you, he's going to say, well, how do you want to, can I call you? Can I FaceTime you? Can I take you out? If he's not that interested, he'll just be like, whatever. Rebel says, the games. I mean, life's a game. Life's a game. If you don't want to play games or you don't want to put in effort because too much effort, it feels like games, then don't. But then don't wonder why you don't have good relationships. Your perfect and great relationship's not going to fall from the sky. You're going to have to do work. You're going to have to create desire. You're going to have to be more desirable to people. I can't be a man here complaining about why do girls want rich men and not the men who make no money. Makes no sense. At the end of the day, the girls are going to be attracted to the guys who have more resources. Is it a game because the girls want the guys who want more resources? Is it a game because the guys want particular girls who carry themselves a particular way and you have to act a particular way to attract the most amount of guys? No, it's just how the psychology of people work. If you don't like it, then don't do it, but then don't wonder why people don't like you. I end things after 1 month dating. We both were sad with it ending. It's been a month now. He hasn't texted. After 1 month of dating, if you ended things after 1 month of dating, you probably jumped too quickly into that relationship. Because if you're discovering that the relationship isn't working after 1 month, there was probably those problems existed well before you started dating. This guy still waiting for his ex. He was honest, but we enjoy each other's company. You're wasting your time if he's waiting on his ex still. Rebel said, I'm not disliked. That's a huge assumption. I'm not saying that you're disliked. I'm just speaking on the concept. right? uh, oh, sorry. Someone said I'm 28. I'm 28, single. Should I try dating apps? Feel like I'm running out of time. Do not try dating apps. Your best bet is to figure out what your hobby is or what you enjoy and go out and do that because you enjoy it, not to find men. But I promise you, in the process of that, you'll find someone who is like-minded as you and you'll be shocked at who you meet. But you actually have to get out of your house. You have to. If you like art, if you like painting, go to a paint class, go to an art class, go to a museum, and you'll be shocked at the type of people that you find. You'll start to feel like, oh, I see this guy's looking at me and this guy, da, da, da. You never know what situation you'll find yourself in when you go out of your house and you do something that you enjoy. Okay. China says how to navigate emotionally unavailable men. You don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. You're trying to turn someone into something that they're not. Okay. Anna Torres, 28's not old, by the way. Like, don't convince yourself that your age is a limiting factor to you being able to find a good relationship. Also, don't convince yourself that you having kids or not is a limiting. If you believe that it's a limit, it will be a limit. Like, you are what your beliefs are. So if you're convinced that you being 28 is so young. Do you guys know how old I am? 28 is so young. LaPeaches in the YouTube chat said, yes, Tomisin, they get on my nerves with that too. Get on my nerves about what? About what? Right? CFAT in the YouTube chat said, how old are you? You guys should know and how old I am. You guys should know this by now. You guys should know how old I am, my sun sign, and my height. I even said my height during this live stream. Okay. Caught him in another girl's car. He says he was with his friend. I ended things and blocked him, as you should. What the hell? You caught him in another girl's car? That's crazy. That's a crazy story though. You should DM me that story so we can share it on the podcast. That would be an interesting story. If you guys have interesting stories, DM them to me. Maybe we'll share them on the podcast just so we can see that. Sometimes it feels like I'm the only one that goes through things. So it's kind of, not that we'll laugh at anyone, but it's kind of good to see like other people also go through things. Like, my life's not the worst life out there. It's a sobering feeling. Why do guys unfollow if you ignore them? What do you mean? They probably like most guys, I don't want to speak because when I say, oh, all guys only want this, everyone gets mad. But most guys, like, they don't have anything to do with you. Like, they don't have anything that they need from you unless it's a relationship or your Squirtle. So if you're ignoring them, there's no point following you or knowing you. Because if you're just going to ignore them, he's not getting access to your Squirtle and he's not going to be in no relationship with you. He don't want to be your casual friend. So what's the point? They just unfollow you. What do you think about Libras? Libras are I guess you could say, my weakness. I always end up with Libras. So that's probably something to that for me. I always end up with the Libra. Literally always. So that's quite strange. How can I make him want me for real, even though he just want to sleep with me? Don't try to convince a guy who only wants to sleep with you to want a relationship. Don't waste your time. You're wasting your own time. If you do that, knowing that, you're wasting your own time. How to know if someone's a secret player? Listen to me every day. It'll be very clear to you. Clear says, because Venus rules Taurus and Libra. So my son's a Taurus, and my rising is Pisces and my moon is Sagittarius. So that kind of adds a little bit of context to that. LaPeacha said, saying that it is playing games. Yeah, I agree. Sifa says, you have to be younger than me, 30 to 32. Look in the chat, guys. Tell Sifa in the YouTube chat. Tell her how old I am. You guys all know. LaPeaches. What do you guys think my age is? You guys should know my age by now. we have the same sun and rising, that probably means we wouldn't get along, right? If we have the same sun and the same rising, right? Why men follow so many girls? It depends on the man. To be honest, I don't follow many people. It depends on the man. And usually the guys who are following a bunch of girls have no focus in their life. They just want to chase around kitty cat. You don't want to be the embarrassed a girl that is in a relationship or trying to get a relationship out of the guy who's chasing kitty cat and following 1,000 women. Truth bomb, if your man is following thousands of women and not getting follow backs, you're embarrassing as hell. You should reevaluate your relationship. If you're in a relationship with a man who's following thousands of women and not getting a follow back, truthfully, don't be that girl. Thoughts on boyfriends having girlfriends? I don't think that's a thing, and I also don't think that that's a thing that people want to accept. I mean, I understand having coworkers or casual, like super casual friends that you only see because like you know they're mutuals with people or whatever. But the idea of having like a really close friend that's a girl as a guy is it's just a trick. It's a Western society thing where we like to live our lives in the gray area. So rather than acknowledging that we like to do things that are inappropriate, we just hide them under the veil of like, oh my God, everyone's friends. Like the idea that I should be close friends. Like, let's say I have a really close guy friend, right? And my guy friend has a girlfriend. The idea that, oh my God, me and my guy friend's girlfriend are going to be best friends. We got to be besties and talk all the time and text all the time. That's weird. That's weird. And that's inappropriate. This, to me, at least. The same way, and it goes vice versa, right? And even in a relationship, the idea that I'm in a relationship and then I'm like actively have another girl in my life that, oh my God, she's my best friend. We talk about everything. We go out, we spend time together. We spend time alone together. That's weird. And that's just hiding under an excuse that I have some sort of feelings or connections to that girl. Because if I have a girlfriend, but then I have a girl best friend, what exactly is it that I'm getting from my relationship with my girl best friend that I am not able to get from my relationship with my girlfriend? If you're saying, oh, well, we just have a better overall connection, we just talk about more stuff that's more deep and I can tell her more stuff, why can't you tell the girl that you're planning to marry, assuming if that's your girlfriend, why can't you talk to the girl that you're planning to marry about things? Why don't you have enough rapport with the person you're in a relationship with? If it's just not been long enough, then that shouldn't even be your girlfriend yet. Right? To me, the whole idea of making someone your girlfriend is that you're sure that this relationship is working and that this is the strongest connection that you have, and you don't have any desire to be in any sort of other connection with someone else of the opposite sex. That's how I think of it, right? So your partner should also be like your best friend. There shouldn't be someone you think, oh, I have problems, I'm gonna go tell my girl best friend before I tell my girlfriend. People love to hide behind weirdo terminology. And I've noticed the only people that truly get upset about the idea of having a girl best friend or a guy best friend or like a girl close friend or a close guy friend are the people who are defending themselves because they know they're having inappropriate relationships, but they don't want to acknowledge that because it's not, oh, I'm not cheating, I'm not doing anything with them, we're not, having intercourse, but, we spend all our time together one-on-one, alone from people, and we talk about things all the time and we treat it like a relationship. We just don't have the intimacy. That's still inappropriate, to me at least. I don't know how other people live their life. I don't want to tell people how they should or shouldn't live their life, but to me, that's inappropriate. Okay. What does it mean if there's a good opportunity to have a good, deep conversation, but he stays silent? That means that he's probably playing you, because a guy who's truly interested in you will be okay with having a deep conversation with you. Like, there should be an openness to learning about you or to having conversation, right? Like, that's so think about it. If the idea that the person you're planning to spend the rest of your life with, you don't care enough to have at least a conversation with them, like just a real conversation with them, that's very strange. Someone said, I told him I'm not a big fan of texting so he can call me. I think he thinks it's nasty. Is that what you said? I think it looks like I am needy. No. Just leave it at that. If you don't like texting, you tell him that, and then you let him know. If he wants to speak to you, there's a way to present it. You can say, if you want to speak to me or get more access to me, then you can call me. If not, cool. And you just got to leave it at that. You always got to leave people to make the decision that they want to make. You never want to put yourself in a position where you're forcing someone to make a decision, right? Because they'll either only resent you when they do make that decision, or they'll make the decision because you wanted them to make it, and then you'll realize down the line that, they didn't really want to make that decision, and then you're the one that's going to look stupid. Okay. Tips for a first date, please. He wants to go for drinks. I'd advise you to go on the date for drinks and don't drink. Stay sober so you can really see if you're vibing with him or not. Right? Don't get drunk on the date and then you come away from the date, you don't know if you actually like the guy or if it was just that you were really drunk. Right? Don't drink, and then let him drink if he wants to. Ask him a ton of questions. Ask him about his past. Ask him about his girlfriends. Might sound like you're taking advantage of him, but hey, you want to be smart, or you want to get played. My advice to you: you go out for the drinks. Don't drink. Stay sober. Be of a sober mind. Bring your questions with you and ask him a ton of questions about himself and his life and his relationship. If he wants to be the one getting drunk, where he's out of his mind and he doesn't know what's going on and he spills a bunch of his secrets, hey, that's his fault. It's not your fault that you don't drink. Not your fault. You don't got to be a doofus with him. He initiates dates often, but is horrible at texting back. Does texting necessarily not matter then? I wouldn't focus too much on if a guy is texting you back or not. If if he's like consistent with you and he tries to call you and he's like trying to take you out on dates, don't be focused too much on the texting. Also, as it relates to drinking, guys, it's like you'd be surprised if you let go of the drinking and the weed and then this and that. Everyone else that has these vices, you'll have a superpower where you can go around and there is nothing that feels more powerful. And I know this from experience since I quit drinking a year and a half ago. I still go out. I still go out to like clubs, bars sometimes. I still go out to, not so much anymore. I'm pretty busy now, but I still go out to events and things like that, places where people drink. And so it's like a superpower to be out sober, because you really get to get a sense of what people are about and what they're on and who they are when you're the sober one and everyone else is out of their mind. You know what I mean? You really get to know what the hell is going on, and you can really feel things and understand things a lot better. You have so much more clarity. You know what I mean? Everyone wakes up, what happened, and you're the only one that knows exactly what happened. Okay. Maybe that's a conversation for another day. I'm telling you, you try it, it'll change your life. Long distance for 6 months, only texting, no plans to come see me. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. Don't waste your time. If you can tell me that, then you know you're wasting your time. So if you continue to be in a relationship after you know you're wasting your own time, you're just wasting your own time. Don't blame him then for wasting your time. Answer me, what does it mean when he watches your stories after... Sorry, your message went away. When he watches your stories after it ending, we only dated 1 month? What do you mean he watches your stories after they end? How is that possible if they ended? Right? And if you only dated for 1 month, you probably weren't in a serious relationship anyways. You probably were with a moving too fast guy, or you're really young, in which case you need to be going to school and reading your books, because 1 month relationship sounds like high school. Okay. If you're in high school, go read your books. Don't be focused on dating nobody. Okay. There's no cap. Any of you guys who are under 20 years old that are in my live stream or on my chat, go read your damn books. Go learn the Pythagorean theorem. Okay? Don't be worried about boys and all this other stuff. Okay? You don't need to be worried about boys if you're under 20 years old. Real talk. Like, that should not be your focus. You have so much more to learn about life. Okay? In the YouTube chat, Davina said Taurus Sun, Gemini Rising, Sagittarius Moon here. Okay. Um, CFAT said, I really have a good text thread I can share with you, but I don't have IG. Can I email it to you? Like a text thread between you and another guy? I mean, sure, you can email it to me. Just send it to my email. If you go on it's just my first and last name at gmail.com. You can send me that email. A guy, CFAT said a guy wanted to call me and I was sick, so I told him, let's wait for my throat to get better. He said, okay, feel better, and then I didn't hear from him again. I think he saw me active on the app. Could be. In which case, you win some, you lose some. That's why I advise against dating apps. There's always, people always get weird. Someone said, Ma in 30s shouldn't be following girls on IG. I agree. Like, guys, don't be the girl that you're in a relationship with a guy who's following a bunch of girls on IG. Like a bunch of, is there a difference between following people that you know? Like I seen someone the other day mention like, they mentioned to me like, oh, I see you following these girls on Instagram and stuff like that. And, some of them are like famous IG models or something weird like that. And I was just like, that I know some of those girls like in real life, like some of them are my real friends. Like, I don't know how to explain it to you guys, but like some of my real friends are IG models. But like the people that I don't follow nobody that I don't know. But if your guy's following people that he doesn't know, like random IG models that he doesn't know and has never met and don't follow him back, yeah, you in a bad place. Don't be that girl. How do I know that he is developing feelings in a relationship? You do what we just talked about today. When you're building a real long-term relationship with someone, you're trying to build a deep connection with someone, you're going to know if they're serious or not. That's why this was so amazing. Someone said, I'm almost 100% sure you have a Venus in the 7th house. Okay, so if you want to know my birth chart, I'm going to tell you this right now. Okay, I was going to pull it up one day for you guys, but okay, for those of you super astrology majors, write this down right now. I'm going to tell you my whole thing so you can type it in and look at my birth chart. Okay, so I am born April 25th, right? 1997. Okay, write this down. April 25th, 1997. And I was born in Lagos, Nigeria, right? At 3 a.m. Okay? So April 24th, 1997. Sorry, April 25th, 1997. I almost lost my thing. April 25th, 1997 in Lagos, Nigeria at 3 a.m. So if you want to put that in the birth chart thing and see where all my houses and stuff is for you astrology nuts, you can do that. Someone said never give your whole chart. I don't care. You guys can see my chart. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't bother me. CFAT says I still don't know your age. Were you not looking in the YouTube chat? And I just said my age. My age is 26. 26, not 27. I'm turning 27. I mean, this is April. We're in April. So on the 25th, I'll be 27. Of this month, the 25th of this month, I'll be 27. But right now, I'm 26. Okay? Lagos, Nigeria, 3 a.m. April 25th, 1997. So that's how you can find my birth chart. If you guys, because I don't remember where my Venus is, where my Mars is, all that other stuff. I don't remember where it is. I only know my rising, my moon, and my sun sign. Okay? Someone says Pluto conj MC Claire, you must be an astrology girl for real, because you be on this, right? Someone said, what's the youngest you'll date? I'm 26, so I would at 26 I would never go younger than 21, just because there'd be too much of a difference in understanding about life. You speak Igbo? No, I'm actually Yoruba. I'm actually Yoruba. So I know some of you guys are like, oh, stay away from the Nigerian Yoruba man. Yeah, I'm a red flag, guys. I never came on here and told you guys I'm a green flag man. Been telling you guys I'm a red flag man. So there you go. That's why I tell you guys about red flag man. How to know which category he puts me from his behavior? I mean, listen to me and you'll know. If you literally watch all my videos, that's basically the gist of everything that I talk about. So you should watch all my live streams multiple times and you'll know. I just turned 27 in March. I'm older than you by a little. That's dope. That's dope. That's dope. That's dope. CFAT says, what age range should I be open to? I'm 35. It really depends on what you like. You know what I mean? Like, if you like older guys who are more mature, you can go all the way up to, at 35, you could go all the way up to like 50, I think. Right? Age is kind of like, and age is also representative of like a personality too, because you can date what feels like a very old 50-year-old and you can also date what feels like a very young 50-year-old. Like when I'm 50, I'll still be watching SpongeBob with my kids and stuff. You know what I mean? So I'll be more of like I just have a younger soul naturally. So I like to have fun and stuff like that. So if I was dating someone younger than me, it wouldn't feel like, I keep up to date on like what's going on. It wouldn't feel that much different. But for some people, they're different. So for some people, you might feel like there's a bigger age gap when they're older. So it all depends on what you like and what you're into and the personality of the other person. Okay. All right. Let me go back here because I know you guys have some other. How can you tell if he's losing interest or just a genuinely bad texter? I mean, it's really about whether he can be a bad texter and still want to meet up with you, like go on a date with you and ask you out on a date and things like that. But if he's just a bad texter and like he's never trying to see you or meet you, then you know that he's not that interested. Not that interested. Not that interested. Amber says, I'm 33. I'd go as far as 43, but I wouldn't date men in their 20s at all. Maybe late 20s, but I'm looking for 30 plus. I agree. I think you got a good starting point there. Ex cheated and is now stalking. What does this mean? It means he's stalking. If you don't want to get back with him, then yes, block him. Why are you making it hard? If you don't like him and you don't want to get back with him, then block him. If he's stalking you, that's his own thing. Why are you worried about what he's doing? When's the right time to involve families? It's all dependent on how fast or slowly your relationship is developing or growing. I told you guys we did the math problem. You can go on 3 dates a week for 3 months and you've only really spent 4.5 days with them. So you could spend more time than that with someone and get to know them better. You can also spend less time with someone per week and maybe you don't really know them as well. Can we talk about ghosting? I've talked about that many times before. You got to watch all my videos, all my live streams. Is it okay to forgive someone who cheated? During the dating phase, it depends on what you're okay with. If you feel like he really made a mistake and he's truly sorry for what he did, and you can still build a relationship after that, then that's your choice. Like, guys, don't come on here asking me to make a relationship choice for you. You can listen to what I say and then make your choice for yourself. Okay? I'm trying to teach you how to fish. I'm not trying to tell you how you should live your life. Sometimes I feel like you guys come on here, you want me to tell you how to live your life, what you should eat in the morning, what you shouldn't eat in the morning, how you should dress, how you should do your hair. Guys, come on. Like, come on. I'm not your dad. Okay? I'll help you get the relationship that you want. I'm not going to tell you what you should wear in the morning, how to do your hair. Okay? You guys can make your own decisions. CFAT said, so I'm Muslim and my religion encourages women to bring a male chaperone when meeting prospects. Thoughts? If that's the religion and it's understood by the guys you're dating, then they should respect that. Right? Grace said, you not our papa. I agree. I'm not your papa. right? I'm just a regular guy. I'm more like a friend. You know what I mean? More like a friend, not your dad. So I say that, say, listen, learn from what I say, like a conversation, take from it what you will, extract the truth, and figure out how you can utilize it in your own life. Don't be waiting for me to tell you exactly what to do, and then if I don't tell you exactly how to act, then you don't know how to live your life. You know what I mean? That's not healthy or sustainable, because then you're like frozen in place. If I don't answer your question, if I don't tell you how to respond or what to say, then you don't know what to do. Like that's not sustainable. Um, okay. Do men forgive cheating? It depends on the man. Me? No. But it depends on the man. Some men can. Someone like me? Not a chance. Not a chance. How long should you give a guy to make it official? It depends on how long you guys have been truly spending quality time together, not just seeing each other, spending real quality time together. Because you can be with someone for 6 months and have only really seen them 6 times. So it depends on how much real quality time you're spending together. Grace said, call him daddy with a Z. You guys are funny. I'm not asking any of you guys to do that. So if you do that, that's your own choice. Do men feel emotions after a breakup? Let me see. Do men feel emotions after a breakup? What's the breakup phase? I mean, it all depends on the guy. Some do a lot, right? Some don't. And some do a lot, some don't. What's the most attractive thing to a man for a woman? I actually talked about that a couple live streams ago. Go back to how to be irresistible to a man, and I talked about exactly that. Top 3 most attractive things about a woman, you said? Yeah, go back to my live stream where I talk about how to be irresistible to a man. I literally talked about exactly that. Exactly. What do you think about Virgo men and Libra women? I'm not a huge astrology person. I only know my astrology, but I'm not super familiar with every other thing. The only reason I know Libras is because it's like every girl I end up with is a Libra. That's the only reason I know about Libra. Everything else is like focused on, I only know because of me. How much money should he spend if you already had a few nights dates and it's getting serious at 23? I wouldn't be too focused on the amount of money he's spending per date. If he's taking you out on the dates and he's paying for them already, like that's already good. Like you don't got to be like, if you're worried about how much money he's spending, you're worried about the wrong thing. Kalira said, I knew it'd be something. What do you mean? I knew it'd be something about what? I'm assuming you're saying something about astrology because that's what you love. Amber said in the news past CFAT, I think that's a great idea. I wish I had men in my life to help me vet men in my life. I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing for you guys, helping you vet the men, giving you ideas on what to do and how to go about it. I feel like that's kind of what this is for. Clara says, I found the source of your emotional intelligence in your chart. You got to send it to me so I can, maybe next week I'll post it. Maybe next week I'll post it. I can just search it myself, but I'm lazy. Had a mistake done, difference of opinions, then broke up. Let me see. Can we patch it up? I mean, it's possible. It depends what the difference of opinion was, though. Depends what the difference of opinion was. Yeah, clear. Tell the chat because I don't know. I don't even know where it comes from. Tell the chat. Comrade said Tomisin wants us to win. I want you guys to win for sure. I want you guys to go out and find your perfect relationship and then come back and be like, yo, I got my man's type shit. Yo, I did that. And then we'd be proud of you. I don't want you to have to like, sit here and listen to me forever. You know what I mean? Or like never find a good relationship and just be dreaming all day long. Right? I also don't want you guys to be dreaming of being with me. I'm a red flag man. It's not, the whole point of this is not for you to be with me. The point of this is for you to go out, find you a man. We're learning about it tomorrow. Okay, right? Let me read back. I asked him what's wrong. He says, it's nothing, but I know that it's something wrong. How to talk with him. Um, I just met, actually, if you rewind all the way through when I talk about creating questions, I talked about a good strategy to get someone talking. And I've talked about this many times. You all heard that, right? Sorry, I missed a couple of things in the chat. So did you guys say something? Did Kalira talk about what it was that she said my sign that for my emotional intelligence? Adriana said, do you believe in soulmates? 100%. 100%. I believe in soulmates. 100%. But I also believe someone can, it's like, I believe in soulmates in the idea that someone can become your soulmate. Not so much that soulmates is like, oh, this was already predetermined. So when I met you, I knew we were soulmates and it was love at first sight type of thing. I feel like someone can become your soulmate over time. For sure, for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. Do you guys know what twin flame or what a twin flame is? Just out of curiosity. The boyfriend, he need to call you every day and need to tell you good morning and good night, or what? I don't think that I don't think that being a good boyfriend consists of texting good morning and good night every day. I think that being a good boyfriend consists of being consistent and taking care of your woman, protecting and providing for her. I don't think that texting her good morning and good night is an example of being a great boyfriend or husband. I think there's plenty of other things you can do in a relationship that make you a much better husband or boyfriend than just telling them good morning and good night. Sometimes I think you guys are focused on the wrong things. I'm not sure I think everyone has a soulmate though. I've never actually thought about that, if everyone has a soulmate. I believe I have a soulmate. I just don't know if everyone has a soulmate. That's a good point, actually. A man told me he only wanted to text because he does not like small talk. What is that about? You can have a real conversation that's not small talk in person, right? Or over the phone. Since when is texting less small talk? Texting is all small talk, mainly small talk. Oh, someone says you guys know about twin flames? I don't want to get too spiritual on y'all. Twin flames is an interesting one. Should a girl be more mysterious or show interest? Guys get bored easily. Be mysterious, be mysterious, be mysterious. Mysterious. Be mysterious. 100%. I know who my twin flame is. Clear, you know who your twin flame is? You're supposed to actually stay away from your twin flame. Is it? Yeah, stay away from your twin flame. I think that's what it is, because they're too similar that you repel or something. Doing relationship things without the title, you're playing yourself. Don't cry in a couple of weeks or a month when you realize that he played you or that he's got another girl. Because if you're doing all the relationship stuff without the title, you're wasting your own time. User says just give up on dating men. They're simple. Guys, this isn't about giving up on men. There's plenty of good men out there. I'm not one of them, but there's plenty of good men out there. So it's really, the whole job of this is just about helping you decipher the good men from the men who are not so serious, okay? The reason I keep saying I'm not one of them is because I don't want you guys to think I'm talking to you like, hey guys, if you want a man, he should look exactly like me, and he should sound exactly like me, and he should talk exactly like me, and he should make you feel exactly like me. No. I'm just going to give you the information that you can take it and use it to your advantage. Don't be thinking I'm coming here telling you that, hey, make sure your man sounds like me and talks like me and looks like me. No. Don't do that. Okay. What's your red flags? I got a ton of red flags. Do you guys really want to know what my red flags are? I got a ton of red flags. I got a ton. You guys wouldn't like me if I told you my red flags. Someone said your candor is everything. I appreciate it. You guys really want to know my red flags? You guys so nosy. I wonder if Clear can tell what my red flags are based on my birth chart. I have multiple. So I'll probably say one of my red flags is I you can imagine what I just said about texting and Snapchat. I'm a horrible texter. Horrible texter. Horrible. Like I'm not talking about, oh, like I'm dry or this and that. I'm talking about like 1, 2, 3 text a day. I am not a texter at all. Like I'm not a texting buddy. I'm not a pen pal, none of that. I suck at that. So I guess I could say that's a red flag. I love to work. I love to work. I love to work and I love to work on me as well. I love to focus a lot of my energy on me. Not that I don't ever make time for people, but I always make time for myself. So for some people, that rubs them the wrong way. Okay? That rubs them the wrong way because they feel like they don't matter as much, because I'm always like, I got to make sure I do this for myself, do that for myself, make sure I get this done. And I love to work. I love to go. I hate sitting on my ass and doing nothing. I cannot stand that. But for some people, that's a red flag because it's like, why can't you just sit down and relax with me and chill out? And why do you always have to go, work, do this, do that, do that, do this, do that, right? It's just wired in me. I can't feel good about myself if I just sit down and do nothing. I can't. It's not that, and don't get that confused. I enjoy silence. So I meditate every day. I do affirmations every day. Like I can sit in silence actually majority of my day. Even now, I started doing this. You guys are going to think I'm a maniac. But I like being in my own mind and my own thoughts because it helps me be more creative and think more clearly. So when I go to the gym now, I actually don't bring headphones. I bring earplugs. This sounds so weird. I bring earplugs to the gym and I work out and even run with earplugs in. Sometimes I'll have music, but for the most part, like especially if I want to focus, I'll get earplugs. And I'll put earplugs in and work out because I just like the silence and being able to hear myself think. Right? Adriana said earplugs at the gym is crazy. Yeah, I agree. Like don't do what I do. I'm like a maniac. I'm like a psychopath. Like part of my whole thing is like I always like to get deeper within myself to really get a sense of how I feel, which is why sometimes I'm not good at keeping, like a text conversation, Snapchat, this and that, because I just don't like to have too much of the opinions and thoughts of other people is clouding my brain. And I like to have the silence and stillness of being able to just, what do I think? What do I feel? What do I want? You know what I mean? And I constantly try to keep that in my life. So I told you, for some people that rubs them the wrong way. I also, I'm very demanding. Very demanding. We're very demanding. So like, I'm like a drill sergeant. So like I know what I want, but then my expectations are like super high of people, romantic partners, or just people in my life. I'm like, it's got to be like this, or it's not working for me. You know what I mean? I have to have it like, a particular way, and I can be a stickler. So a lot of people don't like that. If you like to just do whatever and everything is just whatever, it doesn't work for me. I gotta have a very particular way. Things have to be very particular for me. And also, I enjoy control. It's probably a red flag because I like to have too much control over things. And even in my relationship, I like to have a lot of control. I don't like things to veer outside of my control. It gets weird for me. I'm gonna give my opinion. I'm gonna tell you what I like and what I don't like. And I like things to be done my way. I obviously, allow there to be opinions, and you can give suggestions, and I'll take into consideration what you want as well. I do my best to be a good leader where I listen to what other people have to say and what they want. But for the most part, I like things done a particular way. I'm a drill sergeant. I told you guys. You guys wouldn't want to be with someone like me. Enlightened says, sounds just like me for real, but I listen to sermons or educational videos at the gym. Yeah, so most of the time I don't listen to music. So if I'm not having earplugs in, then I'll listen to, I don't know if you guys know who Andrew Huberman is. Do you guys know who Andrew Huberman is? He's a doctor who talks about science and neuroscience and physical health, mental health, all that good stuff. So like I listen to the nerdiest stuff, guys. You You guys wouldn't want to be around me for too long. I'm playing podcasts about neuroscience and all this weird stuff, stuff that like just you wouldn't care about. Honestly, you wouldn't care about. You'd think I'm a nerd. I sit here, I watch videos about cameras, filmmaking, lenses, computers, tech. It's boring. I'm thinking about the brain. I'm thinking about psychology. I'm reading Robert Greene books and stuff like that. You don't, just trust me. That's boring. That's boring. You guys don't want that. That's too much. It's too much. Okay. I just want to be single and get to know who I am. I'm more interested in understanding the world. I agree, but you have to have that stillness. You have to have that stillness to really think about what you want. You have to have that stillness to think about what you want. Someone said those are not red flags. It's really about like it's about the good comes with the bad. You know what I mean? So, I like taking time for myself. I like, investing in myself, but for everyone that doesn't work, some people, especially, think about when you have a romantic partner, it can feel a lot like, you might say it's not a red flag now because you're not in a relationship with me. So it doesn't feel as offensive if I say, oh, I want to take some time for myself or be with myself. But when you're in a relationship with me or you like me, it feels a lot more offensive, right? Because it's like, oh, you don't want to spend time with me? Why don't you want to be around me? Why don't you want to hang around me? Why do you always want to be by yourself? Why do you always want to do your own thing? Why don't you want me to be around? Why don't you want to, hang out with me type of thing, right? So it kind of feels like it gets like that sometimes with me. And Light Nate says, I like Andrew. He's smart. I love learning new things versus just constant entertainment. Yeah, I'm a learn guy. Like that's my other addiction, I can't sit down and just feel like I'm just consuming something that's not teaching me anything for too long. Like I like to learn new things to feel alive. So for some people that doesn't work, for some people it doesn't. Everyone's different. And like I told you guys too, remember, you guys be saying, oh, there's no red flag. I just told you guys, I'm a drill sergeant. So me is not fun. It's not fun time with I like to have fun, but in a very particular, structured way. I love to have fun, but I'm a drill sergeant. So it's not like, oh, you just get to, with me in my relationships, not like people don't just get to act how they want, do whatever they want, go out. Oh, I talk to whoever I want. I do whatever I want. I'll message whoever I want, right? Everything's whoever I want. I'm a drill sergeant. It is not it can be not for the faint of heart. Okay. That's not, I know I don't advise being with the drill sergeant like me because you won't get to just do whatever you want. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? There's a bit too much control there on my part. Okay. Someone said Taurus. Yeah, it's probably the Taurus thing. It's probably the Taurus thing. Clara could probably tell you exactly where it stems from. It's probably the Taurus thing. I'm trying to tell you guys that I'm a drill sergeant. Someone said that was hot, and I'm being so for real. I'm not trying to be cool. I'm trying to be so for real with you guys. I am a drill sergeant, and not in a fun way. Okay, is being too mysterious bad? I'm only telling you guys this stuff too because it's Friday. That's the only way. That's the only reason I'm telling you. And Lightning says my thing is act right or get left. I don't have time for the games. I agree. I know exactly what I want. I know exactly what I want in a relationship too. So do not, if you veer outside of that, or if you're not acting how I want you to be acting, I'm going to tell you too. I'll tell you right at the beginning, and I'll be very clear with what I like that you do and what I don't like that you do. But if you continue doing that, you're done. It's not negotiable for me. I don't sit around waiting for people to change. How to find good guys without dating apps? My honest advice to you, get out of your house. So figure out what you like, what you're into, right? And what you're interested in, what makes you feel fulfilled, what your hobbies are. And my advice to you would be go out and do that. I always tell you guys, you can search on TikTok, things to do in my city, whatever your city is, just type it in. If you live in Miami, that'd be weird if you lived in Miami. Not that it's weird, but living in Miami is kind of weird. Anyways, things to do in Miami, things to do in New York, things to do in LA. And You'll find a lot of fun things to do that is not just going to the club or going to the bar. Go there and you'll be shocked at who you meet. You'll be shocked. You'll meet some people that are very interesting. And says, I do live in Miami. I always think of Miami as like somewhere people go to like cheat on their partners. So the idea of living in Miami constantly is just funny to me. But obviously people do live in Miami. I just think it's funny. Someone said, what must your woman have? I'd be here all day. I told you guys I'm a drill sergeant. I can't sit here and tell you guys all the things. It would be pointless. I'd just be here all day. Rose said, so true, but no diss to Miami. You guys know, like people aren't going to Miami. I want to go to Disney. Yes, first of all, Disney was in Orlando, but people aren't going to Miami to twiddle their thumbs. Okay, let's be so for real. Okay, let's be so for real. Clear said top 3 traits: intelligence, emotional intelligence, actually number 1. Number 2 is like you have to have some sort of like, like passion, like I have to be able to hold a conversation with you, like a real conversation, like not talk to you about like pointless stuff. And then 3 is like you have to be like a deeper thinker. Everything's about the mind for me. You have to be a deeper thinker. Like if we can't talk about, do we live in a simulation or not? Sorry, you're probably not the person for me. You know what I mean? It's not gonna work for me. And said, you were Gemini? No, I'm a Taurus, Sagittarius moon, and a rising Pisces. What can be a deal breaker for a man? That depends on the man. Like I just said earlier, some guys might be like, oh, it's okay to cheat. You can cheat on me and I'll still be with you. Someone like me? Hell no, not a chance. How to attract men when your BF broke up with you but loves you and he want to stay alone? Please help. If your boyfriend broke up with you and he wants to stay alone, then leave him alone. I don't know how to make that any more clear. If your boyfriend broke up with you and he wants to stay alone, then leave him alone. You cannot force someone to be in a relationship with you. I know that's not the answer that you want to hear, and you're probably going to do whatever you're going to do anyways, but you should not be trying to force someone to be in it doesn't matter. If they say they love you, that's irrelevant. If he's telling you that he doesn't want to be with you and he's showing you that by breaking up with you, leave him alone. Like you need to work on moving forward. Can't be stuck on that forever. He friend zoned me. What to do? Move forward. If someone has friend zoned you and told you where you stand with them, you're wasting your own time if you're sitting around waiting for things to change. He has made it clear. You're in a great position that he made it clear to you. Now you know there's nothing there for you anymore. How to not let a talking stage dry out. Don't be a textaholic and don't be a Snapchataholic. How to detach. I actually have a YouTube video on my YouTube page, literally exactly that, how to detach. How to detach. Someone said, be happy with yourself. First of all, focus on yourself 100%. You know how we do around here. Someone said, I appreciate your advice, Thompson. I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate you guys so much. I gave you guys so much more personal stuff too today. I told you guys only because it's Friday, I'll give you guys some personal stuff. Is it possible for him to love you and fear you? Possible. I think you have to understand too, even with respect is a little bit of fear, right? The only people you really respect are the people that you fear a little bit, right? Even in a relationship, it's good to have a healthy amount of fear. Remember how I just said I'm a drill sergeant, right? I don't like to make too much things about me, but remember how I just said I'm a drill sergeant? Being in a relationship with me, you're going to have a little bit of fear that if you do the wrong thing, you're going to get the boot and it's going to be over for you, right? It's not going to be, oh, I guess you did it. And, I guess, but I like you so much. And no, it doesn't matter for me how much I like you. If you do the wrong thing, you're done, right? We can address it. You can apologize for it. And then depending on what it is, maybe I'll give you an opportunity to fix the behavior. If you do it again, you're done, right? It's very simple with me. So I say that to say, I say that to say respect is is a little bit of fear, and even in a relationship, it's good to have a healthy amount of fear, because if you don't have any fear that if you do something wrong, then your partner will be upset or leave you or whatever it may be, then you're just going to act however you want to act. You know what I mean? And that's obviously not going to be good. Do you think he'll return to me? I am giving him a space, but I am afraid he find new girls for fun. If you're afraid he'll find new girls for fun, then you already know where his mind was at. You already know where his mind was at. Like I told you, you can't force a guy to be with you. Do you do a skincare routine, or is it your butt jeans? No, I have a skincare routine. I use a lot of The Ordinary products. So I'll give you guys my routine real quick if you guys want it. In the morning, I use niacinamide. I use a CeraVe lotion and the face lotion, and then I also use mineral sunscreen, an SPF 30 sunscreen. And then I put Aquaphor on my lips, obviously. At the nighttime, I do alpha abrutin, the 2% alpha abrutin from The Ordinary. And then I do it's like a vitamin C extract. It's got a really long name. It's like a vitamin C. And then I use some days, depending on the day, I'll use my tretinoin. Depends on the day though. So maybe like once a week I'll use tretinoin. But most times I won't use the tretinoin because it's too strong to use every day, because I have a 0.1 tretinoin. So I'll use that, and then after that I'll put on like a layer of Aquaphor on my face. And then on my lips. That's my nighttime routine. Some of you guys that don't have a routine are probably like, what the hell is he talking about? All right. Tretinoin's a life changer. I'm telling you, tretinoin will change your skin for the better. That's how you get glass skin, is tretinoin. Right. Someone said like he's serious about his skin. Yeah, I am. I'm a stickler. Even stuff like this too. Like I told you guys, I'm a drill sergeant, but like I'm a drill sergeant on everything. Like even like this, I don't even like my beard to get this long. Like all it is a shadow, but I don't even like it this long. I like my shit to be shaved. Like I like a clean shave, like damn near. If I could get a clean shave damn near every day, I will have a clean shave every day. Like I hate, too much. I just, I like to keep that stuff clean. Okay. Clear said I need to stop dissecting this chart. It probably tell you a lot about me. Someone said perfectionist. I mean, I guess to an extent I'm kind of a perfectionist. I always want the best out of life, And I think in the process of wanting the best out of life, I'm always trying to extract more. I can't be in a position where I'm like, oh, I got enough, so it's enough for me to just chill and just relax. Like I need the best out of life. So I want to have the best life. I want to have the most money, the best relationship, the biggest house, the best car. Like I need the best of what life has to offer. Someone says that's the Torres excellence. I mean, I guess so. Yeah, I need everything to be excellent, pristine, proper. I don't like things to be messy, unkept, not looking nice, not taken care of. You know what I'm saying? He said he doesn't want someone else, and he doesn't want to have sex with any other girl, but I'm afraid. You shouldn't be in that much fear. And at the end of the day, that man broke up with you. So if he wants to do anything with another girl, you can't stop him from doing something with another girl. Like you're living in so much fear over a man that ended the relationship with you. Like at the end of the day, you're going to have to move forward at some point. Like it's unhealthy to be worried about what someone else is doing who's single. Someone says I can't date a Taurus. I told you guys, you guys don't have any sort of visions about what it would be like to be in a relationship with me. It would be horrible. Okay. I just told you I'm a red flag man. So don't envision how amazing I would be in a relationship because I talk to you guys about relationships. It would literally be dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. Okay. Don't ever waste your time imagining that. April says I'm a Taurus. I get what he's saying, right? Because if you feel my vibe, like it's just you would know it's not for the faint of heart, right? What do you think about visualization for specific men? It works. It works. But I advise against it because I know a lot of you guys don't have your mind in the right place for that. You just want the man to come back to you for the sake of coming back to you. You don't even want to look inward and see how the relationship went wrong or what you can do better to have a better relationship. So I advise against it only because people only focus on that instead of trying to have better relationships. Isn't astrology not real? I mean, I used to think astrology was a bunch of BS, but then when I looked at my birth chart, it started to say some things that were just so insanely accurate to specifically me that was strange. Because birth chart is not just, oh, what day you were born. Your birth chart is the day, right? And month, obviously, you were born, and year, and then also the location of where you were born and the like actual like minute, like hours that you were born, because then it's basing your astrology off of where the sun, stars, and moon and all that good stuff was aligned at the exact moment on Earth where you were born. So it would be different if you were born at the same time on the other side of the Earth. Your birth chart will be different. And when I saw that, it was a little bit, it was quite a bit more accurate, like very, very accurate to who I am. And Clear says it is your cosmic footprint. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot more. You know how the ones where it's just like, oh, Taurus today, they'll go through some tragic things or whatever. Like, it's so general. But the birth chart is so specific. It's kind of like weird. It's kind of weird. When's your birthday? April 25th, 1997. And I was born in Lagos, Nigeria at 3 a.m. April 25th, 1997. Born in Lagos, Nigeria at 3 a.m. So you can look up my birth chart and take with that from where you will. Someone said, where are you from? Lagos, Nigeria. I was born in Lagos, Nigeria. I don't live in Lagos, Nigeria right now. I live in Toronto, Ontario. Toronto, the 6. Where Drake lives. I hate saying that. Right? At 3 a.m. Why is that funny? How's Toronto? Toronto's amazing. Toronto's an amazing city. I'd advise all you guys to take a trip to Toronto at one point in your life. Great city. It's like a slightly smaller version of New York, but way cleaner. That's the best way for me to describe it. Slightly smaller than New York, way cleaner. It's great nightlife, beautiful people. Actually, I've been told many times that the men and women in Toronto are actually better looking than the average people in other cities. And Canadians are nice. I agree. They are nicer. Toronto is a little bit New Yorkish, so you're not going to get the full like super nice Canadians there. It's a little bit New Yorkish. New Yorkish in the sense that if there's a crackhead on the street, like, glitching and like twitching, people are just going to walk over the crackhead. Like, people don't have time for the BS. But like, for the most part, people are generally nicer than New Yorkers. I'll definitely say that. And that's coming from someone who's lived in both. Like, I've lived in New York, and I've lived in obviously Toronto, and I've lived in Indiana. Okay. So don't think I'm just dissing New York and I don't know what it's like to live there. Someone said, can you say my name? Is it Michaela? Michaela, right? Michaela Charlotte? Right? What part of New York? This is when I was younger. I used to live in Staten Island. You guys know where Staten Island is? It's not one of the popular boroughs. I used to live in Staten Island. Okay. Miss America said he is right about the New York thing. Is it about the New York thing? Did I say it right, Michaela? You live in Paulina said you live in Staten Island, New York. Staten Island, New York. It's an all right borough. It's not too crazy. You know what I mean? Great kills. What do you mean great kills? I need a boyfriend. I'm in Brampton. I feel like Indian guys. There's a lot of Indian men in Brampton. I think I should only date men who give me their birth info and the synastry chart. I mean, not a lot of guys really even, to be honest, most guys don't know what their sign is past their sun sign. If you ask them what's their moon and their rising, they'll be like, what? What is that? What is the one thing you would change in modern women? Nothing. Modern women don't have to change for me. They should just be themselves. I don't worry about what people are doing that I don't like. I just worry about what I want. What if your boyfriend likes those videos on IG, girls tweeting? Is that bad or is that just a guy thing? No, that's not just a guy thing. If your boyfriend's liking like IG videos of girls shaking their booty, he's an addict. He's a porn addict. I'm just joking. I don't know that for sure, but it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. Should you respond to ghosting if it was due to him working a lot? He ghosted you because he was working a lot? I mean, if he was just less present, that'd be different. Ghosting you, that's weird. I don't think that's related to him working a lot. That's more related to him not being interested in you. About men who show you who they are, 100%. Men will show you who they are. Men will show you who they are. Enlighten said, do you read the Bible? Of course. How long do you take to respond to DMs? Okay, I'll be so honest with you guys. I'm like so behind on DMs, like weeks behind. It's just because I told you guys I'll be working all the time and then making videos and stuff all the time, editing all the time. And I have had very little time to respond to messages. And now, obviously, I've been doing this every day. You see how I'm on time for you guys? Every day. I get hundreds of messages every day. So it's kind of hard to respond to things every day. On the weekends, it's better because I have more time, so I can catch up on some things. But it's like I get hundreds of messages every day. Like, so it's hard. I'm a little bit behind. So if I haven't responded to your message, don't think that I'm ignoring you, to be honest. Like, just wait on it. And if I don't respond to your message after a while, come in the chat room and suggest some things that you want me to talk about or whatever. And you never know, I might address your question just in a different way. Red flag man. You talking about me? I am. What's your biggest life advice? Focus as much as your time and energy as you possibly can on yourself. Because at the end of the day, what only matters, right, is if you made you happy. It doesn't matter what your mom wants for you, what your dad wants for you, what you want for you. It matters what you made you happy. Lily said, let's talk about green flag men. I actually did a couple of live streams ago talk about like green flag men and like green flag things. Why do men initiate threesomes? Is that what your question was, Anne? I mean, think about the logic. If he's into girls, why wouldn't 3 girls or 2 girls be better than one? He's into girls. Someone said, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Doing very big things, even bigger than this. One of my goals too is to actually turn this show. I'll tell you guys one of my goals. I want to turn this show into kind of like a late night show, but happening. So the same way you would go and watch Jimmy Fallon on your TV or whatever, that's kind of for the older people. The younger people don't do that. But I want to turn the show into something like that, where you tune in every day at the same time. But instead of tuning in on your TV, you tune in here on Instagram or on YouTube or on TikTok or whatever, and it's like a Jimmy Fallon show. So we'll have live music, we'll have me with a couple of talking about a couple of things and a couple of subjects. We'll have maybe some skits, have some other people involved, and maybe interview a guest, and it'll be like a 2-hour show that happens reoccurringly every day. Kind of the same, and even possibly have it in front of a live studio audience every day, and it's like reoccurring, but instead of just the same concept, right, as like a Jimmy Fallon show, but instead of you watching it on the TV, you watch it on your phone, right, or on the apps that you're already on. That's one of my visions for the next 5 years. I told you guys, I'd be thinking big, right? Are your live videos in your channel? I'm new to your channel. Yeah, you just go over. I mean, you're already on YouTube, so you just go over to YouTube and you could watch them there. Obviously, if you're wondering what this chat is, for those of you on YouTube, this is from TikTok because I'm live on TikTok simultaneously to YouTube. So I know for some of the people that are new from YouTube, they come on and they're like, "Where is this coming from?" You know, these are real people. They're on TikTok. So if you went on my TikTok, that's posted down here, you would see the actual live stream as happening, and they can see what you're saying on YouTube. So the same way you see the chat embedded in here for you on YouTube, they can see what you're saying as well when you comment on in the YouTube chat. So it's all connected. Life Sucks says, I have a tiny crush on you. That's fine. That's fine. Just understand I'm a red flag man. Red flag man. Why don't you mind being a red flag? I mean, because I help you guys. So at the end of the day, I couldn't help. If I was a green flag man, I wouldn't even know how to tell you guys to identify the red flag man. So it kind of works in your benefit because me being a red flag man helps you to identify the red flag man, right? If I was a green flag man, it would be hard for me to tell you what it's like to be with a red flag man. Do you understand what I'm saying? But I don't want you to be with a red flag man. I don't want that for you. Someone said I have crushes on red flags. I love red flag men. Guys, come on. You guys want a real sustainable relationship. Facts. God bless you and your red flags. Nah, y'all don't want all my red flags. Don't you want to learn new languages? Yeah, I want to learn Yoruba and I want to learn Arabic. Those are the two I want to learn actually. I actually really want to learn those two. But they're always cuter ones. Oh, you're talking about red flag man? I mean, depends how you look at it. Why though are we more attracted to red flag men? They're danger. It's like if I took you to my kitchen and I was like, okay, you can eat anything on the stove, anything in the kitchen, anything in the cupboards, you'd be like, all right, whatever, and you wouldn't think about anything. You might just pick what you like. If I went to the kitchen with you and I said, take anything you want from the cupboards, anything from the stove, anything in the kitchen whatsoever, in the fridge, wherever, just don't touch the cookies in the top of the cookie jar. Now, what's the first thing you're thinking of? The cookies in the top of the cookie jar. That's how human beings work. But I'm not saying that so that you guys can be like, oh my God, he's a red flag man. I'm just saying that to be honest with you guys. That you guys don't get the impression that I'm coming on here like holier than thou, like, oh my God, I'm telling you about red flag men because I've never made any mistakes. I'm telling you about red flag men because every girl deserves to be treated with respect, and I've only ever treated every girl that I've ever met with respect. That'd be fake as hell if I came on here and talk like that. Okay. Do you want to learn Italian? I'm Italian. Italian's an interesting one to learn, but I don't necessarily have I mean, the thing that I know about languages is I think it unlocks a different part of your brain. Hypothetically, if I could learn as much languages as I could, I would. I only have so much space in my brain to learn on a particular day, though. Okay, I'm going to get off of here, okay? I don't want to be here forever, okay? I will see you guys on Monday. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate you guys spending so much of your time with me. I know for some of you guys it's late. I stayed on a little bit later because I know for some of you it's Friday. Okay? And I love talking to you so much and I love spending so much time with you. And I'm glad you guys would spend so much time with me. I will see you again on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to have more great conversations. If you have a personal question for me, you can ask it to me on Instagram. I'll try my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Obviously, it's the weekend, so I'm going to be able to catch up on some messages. Someone said we'll meet in Toronto one day. I'll be out in Toronto, so maybe one day you might see me downtown or something. Charisse, also, when are you coming to Toronto? You got to let me know. I got to tell you the places that you got to go to. And on YouTube as well, make sure that you guys are subscribed to me there because I'm posting a lot on there all the time. So make sure you're subscribed to me on there. I'll be back again Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. 4 p.m. Eastern time. Okay? And I'll see you again. We'll have a great time. We'll talk again. We'll share laughs. We'll share love. All that good stuff. Okay? Mr. America says, so you're purposely a red flag? Purposely. Just for you so you can learn what you don't want. Okay? All right. I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye for now.